Chapter 803. Yi Qinghan stood on the reversing bone sword and wielded berserk. The scene was different from what everyone had imagined. Lai Yun and Sky Pillar stopped fighting. He controls the Chaos Dragon's origin. How long has it been? Sky Pillar was furious. He was the inheritor of the Sky Pillar battle constitution. He had cultivated for thousands of years, but he could not even bring out 1/10 of his battle constitution's power. How could Yi Qinghan control the Chaos Dragon's origin in just half a month? Boss? Lai Yun was shocked. Only he, who had followed Yi Qinghan for hundreds of thousands of years, knew how strong the reversing bone sword was. He did not dare to say that he was unparalleled among his peers, but apart from his battle constitution, he was definitely one of the strongest among his peers. Yet he could not withstand a single strike from Yi Qinghan. Just how strong was Yi Qinghan now? Boom! Yi Qinghan looked down on everyone. His golden hair pierced through the void, and his foot crushed mountains and rivers. It was as if the entire Gao-Xian realm was trembling. Those who had been looking for Yi Qinghan now realized how lucky they were that they had not found Yi Qinghan yet. Sky Pillar, you can escape once, but you can't escape a second time. Yi Qinghan coldly stared at Sky Pillar. It was as if a sharp weapon had pierced through his defenses, making his hair stand on end. Sky Pillar retreated with his spear. It was not that he was not strong enough, but that the Chaos Dragon's origin was one level stronger than the 10 battle constitutions. No matter how much Yi Qinghan controlled and what the side effects of forcibly absorbing the Chaos Dragon's origin were, he was no match for Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan, you're courting death. All overgods have their own legacies. Anyone who tries to forcibly steal the essence of a primal Chaos Dragon will only end up dead. They will suffer a backlash from the essence of the primal Chaos Dragon. If I were you, I would expel the essence of the primal Chaos Dragon, Sky Pillar warned coldly. Let's talk after I kill you. Yi Qinghan raised his blade and stomped on the ground. With a horizontal slash, space and time were torn apart. The Gao-Xian realm was actually shattered by this slash. Boom! A deep gully stretched for thousands of miles. There was no end in sight, and no beginning in sight. How could Qing Tian dare to take it head-on? He flew backward and rolled several hundred meters on the ground, barely dodging Yi Qinghan's blade. He then turned around and fled, tearing through the void. His figure flashed past at an extremely fast speed. Haha! Yi Qinghan, just you wait for the backlash from the Great Dragon's essence. You killed the dragon spirit and ended a powerful successor of the shaman tribe. How ignorant, but I will thank you. Qing Tian laughed loudly, and the moment he disappeared, he left behind a sentence. Whoosh! Yi Qinghan cleaved through the air with his saber, ignoring all illusions. It was as if he could see the true body of Qing Tian. The saber radiance illuminated the sky and penetrated into the different space. Boom! The saber struck Qing Tian's back, almost snapping Qing Tian in half. Qing Tian spurted out blood and his face turned pale. He used a forbidden technique and disappeared without a trace. Yi Qinghan turned around and looked at Lai Yun. He found that not only did he not run away, but he also ran to where the reverse bone sword was. He carried the sword out of the deep pit and looked at Yi Qinghan in shock. Just as he was about to draw his saber and kill Lai Yun, a tearing pain came from his head, as if his soul was being destroyed by the Great Dragon's essence. Yi Qinghan held his head and screamed. Only then did he know that Qing Tian was telling the truth. The overgods all had their own successors, and whoever dared to steal their successors would suffer from the crazy backlash from the chaos origin. This was an unspoken curse of the overgods. Everyone knew that the successors of the overgods could be killed, but they could not steal their origins. Otherwise, they would suffer from the backlash. Don't use the power of the Chaos Dragon for now. Calm down. It's best if you don't even use your divine power. The divine bird suddenly said. Yi Qinghan gritted his teeth and used the soul-suppressing orb to maintain his last bit of consciousness. He stared coldly at Lai Yun and said, "Get lost. Don't challenge my bottom line." Lai Yun understood Qing Tian's last sentence. He thought that it was just to scare Yi Qinghan, but he did not expect it to be true. He did not care about the Chaos Dragon's essence. There was no benefit in fighting for it now. He carried the reverse bone sword and fled toward the water surface. Boom! Yi Qinghan fell to his knees and hugged Quang Zhong while enduring the tearing pain in his soul. The soul-suppressing orb could only help a little. If it were not for the soul-suppressing orb, the backlash from the Chaos Dragon's essence would have killed him instantly. Yi Qinghan breathed heavily. His eyes were bleeding golden blood. His heart was beating like thunder, and half of the high fresh plane could hear it. The master of the plane watched from afar but did not dare to approach. Is there really a backlash from the Chaos Dragon's essence? Yi Qinghan asked in a hoarse voice. The divine bird ran out. After thinking for a long time, it shook its head and said, "When it comes to matters involving the overgods, no one except those with battle constitutions knows. If there's no other way, just expel the Chaos Dragon's essence." I can't expel it. At least until I reach the overgod level, I won't be able to separate the essence. Yi Qinghan's voice changed. His soul was in pain. His godhead felt like it was being crushed by a great force and was about to shatter. Damn it. How can this Chaos Dragon's essence not even distinguish between good and bad? The divine bird was anxious. It had followed Yi Qinghan for so long and had grown from a mortal to a high-level overgod. Was it going to die at the hands of the Chaos Dragon's essence? Pishio, take me away first. Yi Qinghan did not dare to use any divine power to stimulate the Chaos Dragon's essence. He had to leave this place and find a safe place first. The Pishio rushed out of his body and turned into its true form. It carried Yi Qinghan and tore through the void and left. Qing Tian thought that as long as the Chaos Dragon's essence attacked, Yi Qinghan would definitely die. Therefore, he publicly announced the death of Yi Qinghan and the dragon spirit, causing a huge uproar. This was especially true for the sorcerer tribe. The inheritor of the Chaos Dragon's essence had died. This was a loss that could not be recovered. Taoist Jioshan did not believe it and personally went to Emperor Yi to ask. Emperor Yi held Yi Qinghan's life token and found that the light of the life token was fluctuating. There were obvious cracks on it, indicating that Yi Qinghan was in a very dangerous situation. I'm going out. Listen to Elder Gu Qingyu's orders. Before I return, no one is allowed to leave the inner sect. Emperor Yi only had Yi Qinghan's life token with him. However, he left his own life token with Yi Qinghan. He secretly told him that if his life token broke, it would mean that Yi Qinghan was dead. He told him to bring the insane sect back to the endless plains. Emperor Yi left the Sisui plain and went to the high fresh plain first. His soul was highly focused as he tried to sense Yi Qinghan's location. Their souls were connected and ignored the restrictions of time and space. No matter where Yi Qinghan was, Emperor Yi could clearly sense him. No matter how far away he was, he could vaguely sense him. Emperor Yi pursued the Pishio closely, unwilling to give up. Half a year later, the life token in Emperor Yi's hand dimmed completely. However, it was not completely broken. This meant that Yi Qinghan had fallen into a coma and was only half a step away from death. Emperor Yi was shocked. He sped up and finally caught up with the Pishio at the edge of the universe. Chapter 804. Yi Qinghan disappeared as if he was really dead. 1 year, 2 years, there was no news of him. Gradually, everyone forgot about him. Only the people in the inner sect knew that as long as Emperor Ye's life tablet was not broken, Yi Qinghan was not dead. Once Yi Qinghan died, Emperor Yi would definitely follow. This was the undying relationship between them. After the Sisui realm was dead silent, the appearance of a figure completely disrupted the world's understanding. That was Li Feng. He did not know where he had been all these years. He only knew that when he returned to the mythical realm to look for Yi Qinghan, he learned that Yi Qinghan had waited for 3 years before leaving the realm and entering the Sisui realm. Hence, he came with a sword. His arrival reminded people of Yi Qinghan. When he learned that Yi Qinghan had died, his eyebrows twitched. He did not say a word and directly went to find Qing Tian, who was ranked 10th. 9 battles Tianya Peak, a battlefield of death in the Sisui realm. The two were separated by 1,000 feet. One held a sword, the other a spear. They were as cold as ice and expressionless. Did you kill Yi Qinghan? Li Feng asked. Yes, you want to avenge him? Qing Tian looked at Li Feng with disdain. How could a mortal body that was not even comparable to Yi Qinghan fight with him? No, I don't have the identity to avenge him. He just owes me a battle. Since you can kill him, then take this battle for him. Li Feng unsheathed his sword. The sword radiance shot up and shattered the 9 heavens, alarming the strong people in the Sisui realm. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Many well-known strong people arrived. Reverse bone sword, Lai Yun, Taoist Jioshan, Mo Sha. With just you? Qing Tian asked disdainfully. With the sword in my hand, the one who will kill you is Li Feng. Li Feng's big hand trembled. A 3-foot breeze shattered the void. It was as if everything had turned into a sword and everything was controlled by his sword aura. Li Feng made his move. He was only a silhouette, but it was impossible to guard against him. He was so fast that he was a demon. That slash was as easy and elegant as when he had killed hundreds of divine beasts of the Xuanzong sect. At that moment, Qing Tian, who was known as one of the 10 chaotic war constitution, was swaying in the rain of blood like those divine beasts. He was unable to struggle and could be annihilated by the storm at any time. Boom! The sword hit Atlas's spear, but it didn't break. It relied on the invincible sword qi to break through the spear's defense and into Atlas's chest. Bang! Qing Tian was sent flying, coughing up blood. The spear in his hand erupted with power, blocking Li Feng's sword for him. His powerful counterattack had actually broken Li Feng's sword. The broken sword pierced the sky. Li Feng was sent flying. He somersaulted and landed firmly where he was. His hair fluttered slightly as if he had not moved at all. The people standing outside inhaled sharply and looked at Li Feng in disbelief. Although Qing Tian was only a supreme god, his combat strength was on par with a half-step lord. He might not be a match for Taoist Jioshan, but he was definitely on par with a top-notch half-step lord. However, in Li Feng's hands, he could only be sent flying by the lord weapon in his hand. He was even pierced by the sword qi and was bleeding profusely. Impossible! Which combat constitution do you have? Qing Tian was furious. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He felt that he had been fooled. What combat constitution? I don't understand. All I know is that the sword in my hand is my will. Li Feng put away the sword in his hand right away. He formed hand seals with both hands and mobilized 7 godheads. The light was so dazzling that it was difficult to open one's eyes. The 7 godheads transformed into a divine sword. Divine light flowed, causing the half-step lord to stumble 3 steps back. What kind of damned secret technique is this? I've never seen anyone use a godhead as a sword. Doesn't he need to hide his soul in his godhead? Perhaps he's confident that no one can block his sword, so he doesn't need to defend himself at all. A few half-step lords outside discussed in shock. Qing Tian's face was ashen. The top 10 combat constitutions were a ranking personally arranged by the supreme gods. Apart from the supreme gods, the combat constitutions were the most powerful. He had lost to Yi Qinghan because he had forcefully plundered the Chaos Dragon's origin. However, he had lost to Li Feng because he would make the Atlas combat constitution despise him. Perhaps everyone would despise him for tarnishing the Atlas combat constitution. I'll let you experience what a Atlas combat constitution is. Whoosh! Qing Tian soared into the sky with his godly armor and spear. He was like an Atlas combat god, standing tall. He was bathed in divine light like a blinding sun. All living beings in the entire realm could see him just by looking up. Instead of relying on a combat constitution, I might as well rely on myself. Li Feng was calm. He held the godhead longsword in his hand and crushed the ground with his foot. His figure rose abruptly and charged directly at the Atlas combat constitution that was like a scorching sun. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them fought fiercely at extreme speeds. Despite relying on his chief god weapon, Qing Tian could only barely fight to a draw with Li Feng. He might even lose by a hair's breadth. This shocked everyone. For the first time, people began to question the supreme god's words and combat constitutions. Was it because Qing Tian had not unleashed his Atlas combat constitution, or was Li Feng already so monstrous that he could defy the heavens? This kid is simply Taoist Master Jiushan's hands trembled slightly. He did not know how to describe Li Feng. He was the most powerful being of the same rank that he had ever seen. If he were given a chief god weapon, Li Feng could definitely sweep through everything. That's impossible. How can he possibly have a mortal body? Demon Fiend was in disbelief. A murderous look appeared in his eyes. Such an existence had already broken tradition. He was an existence that could not be controlled. He must be killed. Yi Qinghan is dead, and here comes another monstrous genius. What the hell is this mythical realm? Why are there so many monstrous geniuses? Everyone cried out in alarm. After the two of them fought for an hour, Qing Tian was sent flying by Li Feng's kick. His neck was struck, and his head crashed into the ground. Boom! The spear pierced through the ground. Before Qing Tian could stabilize himself, Li Feng stabbed at him again. This time, the sword contained a will that could split the heavens. It could not be blocked by anyone. Boom! Qing Tian's body twisted, and he hid behind the Atlas war spear. He used the war spear to block the sword, but he was sent flying by Li Feng's imposing aura. His feet slammed into the ground, causing rocks to shatter, but he still could not stop the situation. How did Yi Qinghan die? I don't believe that you can kill him, Li Feng coldly asked as he continued to force Qing Tian back. He was devoured by the Chaos Dragon's essence, the Overgod's curse. Anyone who steals the Overgod's essence will die from the destruction of their soul. Qing Tian gritted his teeth. He did not want to reply to Li Feng, but when he was stared at by Li Feng's deep eyes, he could not help but reply. Li Feng twisted his waist, and the God's Park sword in his hand burst out again. He instantly sent Qing Tian flying and withdrew his God's Park. His black robe fluttered, and he did not seem tired at all. He did not shed a single drop of blood while fighting Atlas War Physique. Such combat strength was beyond imagination. Demon Fiend wanted to attack, but when he met Li Feng's eyes, he shrank back. Taoist Jiushan's eyes flashed. Once such a person joined the sorcerer tribe and cultivated to the Overgod realm, his future would be limitless. He would definitely become an existence that could control the war. Fellow Taoist, I'm the sect master of the Divine Weapon sect. If you don't mind, I'm willing to forge a divine sword for you. I guarantee that you'll be satisfied. Taoist Jiushan said in a deep voice. Chapter 805. Lord Jiushan tried to rope him in directly without hiding anything. Demon Fiend immediately cupped his fists when he heard that. Fellow cultivator, I'm Demon Fiend. If you don't mind, you can follow me to the great demon god's base camp. I guarantee that you'll obtain a lord weapon. Li Feng looked at the two of them coldly. He was slightly influenced by Yi Qinghan and had been betrayed twice by the Shangqing exalted god. He knew that no one in the world could be trusted, only the sword in his hand. I'm not interested. I'll forge my own sword, Li Feng rejected coldly and turned to leave right away. Wherever he passed, the half-step lords automatically gave way. Li Feng appeared and shocked everyone with his battle. Then he disappeared like a flash of fireworks. Yi Qinghan had left under everyone's watchful eyes and then disappeared. According to Qing Tian, he was dead. As for Li Feng, as long as the lords did not attack, they could not kill him. Peace returned to the Sisui realm once again. Li Feng was like a celestial treasure combat body. He stood outside the rules and did not take sides. He was like a shrimp in the river. No one cared about him, and he could not do anything. Qing Tian fell silent. He cultivated in peace, comprehended the combat body inheritance, and swore to kill Li Feng. 30 years later, Gu Qingyu could not take it anymore. Yi Qinghan disappeared without a trace, and Emperor Yi was nowhere to be found. It was impossible to hide in the inner sect forever. Gu Qingyu's cultivation base had reached a bottleneck, and he needed to fight to the death to break through. Therefore, he specifically sought out half-step lords. He suppressed 2 half-step lords consecutively. He attacked ruthlessly, coldly, and arrogantly. His solitary sword Dao instantly became a household name, shocking the world. Another genius appeared and was intercepted by Demon Fiend. In the end, Taoist Jiushan appeared, and the two of them joined forces. Of the 3 half-step lords that Demon Fiend had brought with him, 2 were killed and 1 was severely injured. In the end, Demon Fiend had no choice but to retreat with the severely injured half-step lord. Gu Qingyu was now ranked among the top powerhouses, standing shoulder to shoulder with Li Feng. He had single-handedly fought 3 half-step lords, resulting in 2 deaths and 1 severe injury. Apart from Li Feng and the others, there was no one else among the younger generation who could do such a thing. The juniors of the inner sect walked out one by one. Yi Tian had fought on behalf of his father, but he did not explain that Yi Qinghan was still alive. Now that Yi Qinghan had disappeared, it was the best time for him to cultivate. Once the world knew that he was still alive, it was likely that all the main gods in the universe would come out to find him. Void God Yi Qinghan was very honest and introverted. He was more like Yi Qinghan, especially in terms of appearance. He was like a copy of Yi Qinghan. His battle prowess had reached great perfection, and he was invincible. It even gave people the illusion that he was Yi Qinghan in disguise. Among the inner sect juniors, these 2 were not the only powerful ones. Lin Wutian and Di Longtian were the most powerful, and they had already surpassed some of the older generation. The older generation would not interfere in the younger generation's battles. However, because of Yi Qinghan, Demon Fiend had specifically targeted the Insane Sect, sending out a large number of powerhouses to kill the Insane Sect's juniors. If it were not for the fact that the Insane Sect's inner sect members were not far from each other and could support each other, they might have lost half of their members. Even when they supported each other, a few of them were severely injured. Time flew by, and 100 years passed. Another powerhouse walked out of the mythical realm and shocked the lords. It was the other pupil lineage. That lonely figure was thin and bleak. At that moment, she no longer used camouflage to hide her face. She was dressed in a purple robe and had a slender figure. She was about 1.75 meters tall. If one did not look at her eyes, her devilishly beautiful face was comparable to any woman's. However, her eyes were extremely frightening. One of them was purple, while the other had evolved into a rainbow color. She had not used her full strength yet, and anyone who looked into her eyes would be immediately mesmerized. Her appearance instantly alarmed the top existences of both camps. The 5th-ranked Guangwu battle form and the 6th-ranked Black Tiger battle form were much more terrifying than the Atlas battle form. The 2 of them were as graceful as jade and had elegant temperaments. They fought a world-shaking battle right after they appeared, destroying mountains and rivers. No one dared to interfere. Their combat strength surpassed that of Li Feng and also that of Yi Qinghan at that time. Even half-step lords had to give in. Whether it was Demon Fiend or Taoist Jushan, if they were not in a hurry to see the other pupil lineage, they would definitely fight to the death. Greetings, Zishin. May I know your name, Fairy? The Guangwu battle form was clad in Guangwu battle armor that shone with a rainbow light. He held a long spear in his hand, looking awe-inspiring. The other pupil lineage was only passed down through the bloodline. It would never appear in an outsider's body. The first other pupil lineage was called the Violet Emperor. In name, he was a lord, but in reality, he was the 21st supreme god. This person's combat strength was unfathomable. When his other pupil lineage was fully unleashed, the demon god and sorcerer god could not resist. However, the Violet Emperor was not suited for battle. Those eyes consumed a terrifying amount of life force essence, especially when used against existences like the demon god and sorcerer god. The Violet Emperor did not like war, so he had always kept a low profile and called himself a lord. He did not want to participate in that kind of boring war. Unfortunately, he could not escape his fate in the end. Before he died, he roared and told the world that the people of both camps would not have a good ending. Whether it was the demon god or the sorcerer god, they were both selfish people. The other pupil lineage had never been broken, but they had never appeared. No one knew why this Zixian had appeared. The other pupil lineage person looked at the 2 silently and whispered, "The ancestral teachings are not to participate in the affairs of the 2 camps. Don't force me to fight. Fairy, this time I came purely for personal matters. You don't need to care about my Black Tiger battle body. Just call me Tiger Liang." The Black Tiger battle body Liang Tiger cupped his fists. I have no relationship with you. I came to the Sisui Plain to find an old friend and ask him for help. My clan's lineage has never been broken. I know very well what was right and wrong in the past. My clan's great ancestor died because of your battle. If you continue to bother my clan, don't blame me for being impolite, the other pupil lineage woman said coldly. Guang Wu smiled and said awkwardly, I just want to know your name. If you don't want to be disturbed, I won't offend you. However, if you want to find someone, I can still help. Tiger Liang nodded repeatedly, indicating that he was willing to help. The other pupil lineage person had never told anyone her name. Her clan members, including Yi Qinghan, called her Zixin. Just like her name, she was like an immortal or a god. She was incomparably ethereal and could not be disrespected. I'm looking for Yi Qinghan. As for my name, you don't need to know it. After today, you won't have the chance to meet again, Zixin said calmly. Yi Qinghan? The two were stunned and looked at each other. Guang Wu smiled bitterly. This kid stole the Chaos Dragon's origin. You are an other pupil lineage person, so you should know the consequences of stealing the supreme origin. Thud, 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 Zixin's expression changed. She took several steps back, sadness in her eyes. I know. Do you know where he's buried? Zixin asked with a sigh after learning about Yi Qinghan. According to Sky Pillar, the master of the Gao Xian Plain, and Lai Yin, who were present at the time, Yi Qinghan suffered a backlash from the origin after he fought with Sky Pillar. In the end, he was forced to leave the Gao Xian Plain. As for where he died, we don't know, Tiger Liang said in a low voice. Gao Xian Plain. Zixin frowned and stepped directly into the depths of the Sisui Plain. Chapter 806. At the edge of the universe, in the depths of the endless mountain range, the mountains rose and fell, and the water danced. It was a rare moment of tranquility. A wisp of heavenly music came from an unknown origin, and no one knew where it ended. It was continuous in this mountain range. In a valley, a figure was lying flat in the air. His golden hair hung down, and his hands were placed on his lower abdomen. His battle robe was piercingly cold, as if he had been exhausted for 10,000 years and was sleeping. The Pai Xiu squatted at the entrance of the valley, looking around vigilantly. It emitted a powerful aura, and did not allow any beast to approach. With the Pai Xiu around, that person was naturally Yi Qinghan. Emperor Yi sat cross-legged in the center of the valley. His 10 fingers were dripping with blood. No one knew how long he had been playing. The zither music calmed one's heart and focused one's mind. Even the surrounding mountain winds were no longer howling. The eternal forest swayed along with the music in the valley. Yi Qinghan was already unconscious. He was muddle-headed. He could only hear the heavenly music calling him. His desire to live was beyond common sense. He was fighting for life with the Chaos Dragon's origin. He had been in a stalemate in this valley for 100 years, forcibly taking his life. Under the influence of the heavenly music, the Chaos Dragon's origin actually delayed the destruction of Yi Qinghan's soul. It even took the initiative to condense, showing signs of leaving Yi Qinghan's sea of consciousness. In the sea of consciousness, the Chaos Dragon's godhood patterns were quietly changing. The golden color was also transforming, and the dragon godhood's appearance was restored. Yi Qinghan's fingertip moved quietly, but it did not escape Emperor Ye's eyes. He could not help but cry. For 100 years, Yi Qinghan had been lying in the air. Except for his hair and clothes, he did not move. Even his heart did not beat. That gentle movement of his fingertip actually defeated Emperor Ye's strong heart. The divine bird moved up and down. During these 100 years, it felt that Yi Qinghan was hopeless. How could a human strength be compared to the origin of the supreme god? However, Yi Qinghan's desire to live was unbelievably strong. Perhaps Emperor Ye's music was helping him, making him want to live. However, the power of the two of them together was too terrifying. Little Master, I can feel Master's aura rising. The divine bird said excitedly. Emperor Yi gritted his teeth and nodded. He gently stroked the human Emperor Guqin, and drops of essence blood stained the strings of the Guqin red. Even the body of the Guqin was dyed red. Whoosh! A wisp of golden light shot out of Yi Qinghan's Sea of Consciousness and shot straight into Emperor Ye's Sea of Consciousness. It was the Chaos Dragon's origin. It did not acknowledge Yi Qinghan and even wanted to destroy him, but after 100 years of influence from the zither music, it actually acknowledged Emperor Ye's pure heart. The moment the Chaos Colossal Dragon essence entered his Sea of Consciousness, it automatically formed a Chaos Colossal Dragon Divine Spark. No, this Divine Spark was different from Yi Qinghan's Colossal Dragon Divine Spark from the very beginning. Its veins were filled with the most profound mysteries, and they transformed Emperor Ye's body, Sea of Consciousness, and bloodline. A supreme divine spark. According to legend, there were only 21 supreme divine sparks in the world, and they had long disappeared from the galaxy. But now, one had quietly appeared. The supreme divine spark rapidly formed, draining Emperor Yi of his divine power. Winds and clouds surged, and the divine aura formed a huge vortex. The vortex's point of convergence was the mountain range, and it madly rushed into Emperor Ye's body. The sound of the zither came to an abrupt stop. Emperor Yi was stunned. He felt the Chaos Dragon essence and the legendary Supreme Divine Spark in his Sea of Consciousness, and he found it hard to accept. This Chaos Dragon essence had almost destroyed Yi Qinghan, and after 100 years of stalemate, it actually ran into his Sea of Consciousness, took the initiative to settle down, and even condensed a Supreme Divine Spark? Without the torment of the Chaos Dragon essence, Yi Qinghan slowly opened his eyes. His gaze was filled with vicissitudes, as if he had lived through hundreds of millions of years. His eyes pierced through the void, and there was nothing blocking them. Looking up at the terrifying vortex formed by the divine aura, he hoarsely muttered to himself, "Is this the legendary land of solitary nothingness, the path of reincarnation?" Yi Qinghan wasn't even sure if he was still alive. These 100 years had been torturous. If his will had been slightly weaker, he would have died. There was no way he could have survived. The Supreme Divine Spark's torment could destroy his soul with just a breath. If it weren't for Emperor Yi constantly reminding him, he wouldn't have been able to hold on for more than 100 years. "Master, you didn't die. Your Chaos Dragon essence ran into the Little Master's Sea of Consciousness." The divine bird shouted. Yi Qinghan was startled awake. He suddenly fell to the ground. Looking at Emperor Ye's dazed eyes, he panicked and his nose tingled. Looking at Emperor Ye's scattered white hair, he felt extremely guilty. He was clearly the one who wanted to protect this thin and weak child, but every time, it was her who had been protecting him, desperately protecting him. Yi Qinghan's entire body trembled. He slowly knelt before Emperor Yi, clenching his slender fingers. Looking at the scratches on them, his heart ached so much that he couldn't breathe. His resolute Tao heart fiercely trembled, twisting with pain. 2 streams of tears flowed uncontrollably from his deep eyes. "Imperial son, I'm sorry. I was actually so useless." Yi Qinghan deeply blamed himself. These 100 years hadn't been easy for him. It had been very painful. But he knew that Emperor Yi had it even worse. He had played the zither nonstop until his hands were almost worn out, but he had never once frowned. This feeling of gratitude was irreplaceable. Emperor Yi slowly woke up. Looking at Yi Qinghan's frail appearance, he stopped observing the Chaos Dragon essence and Supreme Divine Spark. He leaned over Yi Qinghan's chest and said softly, "Master, how could you be useless? You are the most powerful hero in my heart. That will never change." Yi Qinghan was speechless. He felt ashamed of Emperor Ye's praise. In his entire life, he had either led Emperor Yi into battle or brought her to avoid calamities. He had never given her a peaceful life. The vortex of divine aura surrounded the two of them and surged madly into their bodies, transforming their physical bodies. The bloodstain on Emperor Ye's fingertip disappeared, and divine light flowed through his fingertip. The space inside the Supreme Godhead was like a universe, boundless and boundless. No matter how much divine aura was absorbed or how much divine power was refined, it couldn't be filled. The heaven and earth phenomena here were world-shaking. Even on the other side of the universe, one could see the wind and clouds surging in the sky above the borderlands. Even the Sisui level and the upper plane's divine spiritual energy were being sucked away. What's going on? The first sovereign had appeared. He was so powerful that he could twist time and space and shatter the void, but he couldn't reverse the flow of divine energy. Yi Fei, is this caused by someone from the sorcerer's camp? Several figures descended. They were all sovereigns, and they were all alarmed by the restless heavens and earth. The great demonic god's bloodline couldn't help but be shocked. If it wasn't one of their people who had caused the phenomena, then it could be someone from the sorcerer's tribe. Once an undefeatable existence appeared among the sorcerer's descendants, this battle would end prematurely. The sovereign called Yi Fei was also shocked. He looked at the three sovereigns in front of him in disbelief and shook his head, indicating that he didn't know. The winds and clouds in the universe were stirring, and no one knew where the source of the phenomena was. Even the sovereigns couldn't find a trace. The clairvoyant's divination was directly blasted into nothingness by a bolt of heavenly lightning. The mysteries of heaven were unfathomable, and those who offended heaven's might would die. The heavens were overturned. There was only one kind of person who could make the clairvoyant unfathomable: a sovereign god. The supreme divine spark had appeared. Which powerful sovereign god was it? The sovereigns on both sides were trembling, afraid that it was someone from the other side. The sovereign god was already dead, and his battle constitution hadn't even been fully activated. If a sovereign god suddenly appeared, he could crush the sovereigns with a single slap. Chapter 807. In the depths of God's End Mountain, the second sorcerer god suddenly sat up from his coffin. Tears streamed down his face as he roared, "I can feel Father God's aura." No, it's not Father God's aura, it's the aura of the Chaos Dragon. The primal Chaos Overgods all carried the aura of the primal Chaos origin. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that they were born from the same bloodline and were brothers. It was just that they had their own goals and were fighting against each other. In the distant burial ground of the great demonic god, in a misty demonic palace, three super experts awakened at the same time. They were as old as the sun, moon, and stars. It was unknown what era they were from, but they had actually survived until now by sealing themselves. The primal Chaos Overgod spark has appeared. Which Overgod has appeared in advance? The three of them were uncertain. They felt that this era had completely fallen into chaos. Some people who shouldn't have appeared had all appeared. This was actually different from the prophecy of the past. The Overgod's prophecy was actually wrong. Demonic tiger deity, come and see this seat. The one in the middle of the three occupied the main hall. He had a majestic aura, and his eyes could make people tremble in fear. Even the Overgods didn't dare to disobey his will. Demonic tiger greets Lord Yushin. A black figure appeared in the main hall. He had a sturdy body and was as black as charcoal. His cultivation was actually that of an overgod, and he was also a supreme existence among the overgods. His words revealed the identity of this powerful overgod. Yushin of the Primal Chaos era. He might not have been considered much in the Primal Chaos era, but his identity was extraordinary. It was inconceivable that he had survived until now. Yushin was the last direct disciple of the first-generation ethereal physique. He had received all of the inheritance. When the Primal Chaos era ended, he had just reached adulthood. The first-generation ethereal physique had died and passed all of its profound to him. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that he was the first-generation ethereal physique. He was an existence comparable to the second sorcerer god. Even if he was slightly weaker, he and the other two terrifying existences of demonic god mountain could easily kill the second sorcerer god. This was also the reason why the second sorcerer god had been in seclusion all this time. Yushin seemed to know that the sorcerer tribe also had some terrifying existences hiding in some unknown places. Therefore, they had all sealed themselves and would not come out until the critical moment. If it were not for the birth of the Chaos Dragon Supreme Godhead, they would not have awakened at all. Therefore, Yushin still did not know that the ethereal body of this era had appeared. Go and find out which Overgod's Godhead has appeared and which organization it belongs to. If you find any traces of it, do not blaspheme it. Report back immediately, Yushin said in a low voice. Yes, milord. This subordinate has another matter to report. Demon Tiger Venerable bowed and said, Speak. Yushin was a man of few words. This generation's ethereal physique has appeared, but she doesn't seem to have any intention of returning to the great demonic god's lineage, Venerable Devil Tiger respectfully replied. Yushin's old and gloomy eyes finally bloomed with divine light. He stood up and stared at demonic tiger deity, coldly saying, Why didn't you inform this king of such a big matter? Milord, before you went into seclusion, you said that unless an overgod spark appeared, no one was to disturb you. Therefore, Night Devil Tiger was so frightened that he fell to his knees, not daring to raise his head. Trash, you don't know how to be flexible. The ethereal physique is an existence comparable to a overgod. She is also my successor. How can this be considered a small matter? Yushin sternly reprimanded. Demon Tiger deity was so frightened that he trembled. This was the first time he had seen Yushin angry. This person from the Chaos era was too terrifying. Where is she? Yushin hurriedly asked. At the foot of Divine Artifact Sect's mountain, in a territory called the Insane Sect. I don't understand. Divine Artifact Sect clearly knows that child has the ethereal physique, but they have no intention of killing her. Therefore, I didn't dare to make the decision to fight for her. If I angered Divine Artifact Sect, I wouldn't be able to atone for my sins even if I died 10,000 times, Demon Tiger deity respectfully said. Yushin frowned. She didn't expect things to develop to this point. Divine Artifact Sect was on the side of the shaman tribe. Why didn't they kill the ethereal physique? Even if Divine Artifact Sect didn't do anything, those old monsters of the shaman tribe should have ordered the ethereal physique's death. However, they actually pretended not to know anything. Luring the snake out of its hole? Yushin hoarsely muttered to herself. She suspected that the shaman tribe was scheming something. After 100 years of fighting, the inner sect had lost another 2 experts. Their numbers were reduced to 30 people. Although there were only 30 of them, they were comparable to a large sect. Even if 3 to 5 half-step overgods attacked together, it was impossible to break through their defenses. They might even die on the spot. Qin Wenin was no longer the child from back then. In 100 years, her appearance had changed a lot. She had become a slender and elegant young lady. Her beauty was peerless and her temperament was captivating. Her cultivation had also entered the realm of a middle god. However, no one in the inner sect dared to underestimate her. She had also inherited the ethereal physique's fate, memories, and secret techniques. The combat strength she displayed was unprecedented. Ordinary people couldn't compare to her. However, Jiushan was curious. Qin Wenin didn't choose to leave the insane sect and return to the demon god mountain as soon as the seed of fate erupted. Instead, she chose to stay in the insane sect. She was still as innocent and pure as before. She followed Yichen Tian around all day and called him her husband. Yichen Tian was very docile because of her. I'm looking for uncle. I want uncle. I want aunt. Are you going to look for her or not? Qin Wenin glared at Yichen Tian. Even though Yi Qinghan had left her for 100 years and she was only a few years old at that time, she didn't forget Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi. Yichen Tian was tortured to the point that he didn't have any temper. These days, the only one who could find Yi Qinghan was Emperor Yi. Even Medusa couldn't find him. My good wife, my father will be back soon. He really didn't die. Look, my mother's life jade is still here. Moreover, my mother's cultivation has become very strong. Even her life jade is changing. Yichen Tian smiled bitterly and took out Emperor Ye's life jade to prove it. Then why did the people outside say that uncle left? Why didn't uncle come back to see me? Why would I need a trash like you? Even my father can't find you. Qin Wenin sat on the ground and cried loudly. She didn't look like an ethereal physique at all. Yichen Tian rolled his eyes and his fingers trembled. The great god Chen Tian was actually defeated by his little wife. The people of the inner sect also firmly believed that Yi Qinghan didn't die. If Yi Qinghan died, then Emperor Yi wouldn't live alone. They firmly believed in the love between the two. Therefore, when they saw the helpless expressions of Qin Wenyan and great god Qintian, they secretly laughed. Zifei walked out of the crowd and helped Qin Wenyan up. She ruthlessly kicked Yi Qintian and pretended to be angry. Your wife is crying. Don't you know how to coax her? Senior sister, I really don't have a way to find father right now. It's also not good to go and find them with great fanfare. Once those people know that father isn't dead, they'll probably search the entire world for them. It's better to let them live a peaceful life. Yi Qintian helplessly explained. Chapter 808. At the edge of the universe, the vortex of divine aura grew stronger and stronger, to the point where Yi Qinghan couldn't take it any longer. His 12 godhoods were completely filled, but Emperor Yi didn't stop. He couldn't tell how much divine power Emperor Ye's overgod spark actually contained. In truth, Emperor Ye's overgod spark didn't contain divine power at all. As soon as it entered the overgod spark, it was transformed into chaos energy, which was the most basic form of energy. The overgod spark seemed to be draining the universe of energy. After a month of continuous absorption, the chaos energy within Emperor Ye's overgod spark was like a vast, inexhaustible ocean. Yi Qinghan couldn't even begin to imagine what the chaos verse would be like when 21 overgods were simultaneously absorbing chaos energy. The Supreme Divine Persona even transformed the Tianhun Divine Persona along the way, elevating his Divine Persona into a Master God's Divine Persona. As long as Emperor Ye's realm increased, he would be a Master God. When his realm reached Supreme God, he would be a Supreme God. He would not have to condense a Master God's Divine Persona and a Supreme Divine Persona like others. Overgod sparks weren't that easy to condense, otherwise, Master Clairvoyant wouldn't have lost his life for a single overgod spark, and the 9 Serenities Lord wouldn't have been stuck at the overgod level for millions of years. Emperor Yi became even more divine, so divine that even Yi Qinghan felt some pressure just looking at him. Godlight flowed over his skin, and his white hair turned a faint gold. Chaos Dragon divine energy filled his body, and the Zither immortal Crimson Demon constitution was no longer weak in defense. At this moment, Emperor Yi was proficient in both offense and defense. Yi Qinghan wasn't confident that he could defeat him. In fact, there was an 80% chance that he would lose. Emperor Yi gracefully rose to his feet, growing a bit taller. However, his baby face still hadn't grown much. A smile appeared on his tender face as he happily said, "Master, I never would have thought that the Chaos Dragon's essence would approve of me. An opportunity. It means that this opportunity is yours. Whether it's me or the Dragon Spirit, we're all just passers-by. As for the Dragon Spirit, she'll be brought back to the 9 Serenities. We'll compensate her slowly in the future." Yi Qinghan embraced the soft and boneless Emperor Yi. At this moment, he was somewhat unwilling to care about the affairs of the world. All these years, he had let Emperor Yi down and had not given her a single day of peace. "Master, can we go back now? Back then, it was said that you had suffered a backlash from the Chaos Dragon's origins and had already. Back then, I left my life token behind. Furthermore, it's a chaotic world now. I'm worried that the children won't be able to withstand it." Emperor Yi took the initiative to return. Yi Qinghan frowned and sighed. He still couldn't let go of the inner sect. "I don't care about the affairs of the world. From now on, the inner sect will be set here. If anyone wants to go out and train, then go. I don't care." Yi Qinghan had just experienced a near-death experience. He had seen through a battle that would only result in both sides suffering losses. It would not benefit anyone, so he might as well say this. Maybe, but who can predict the affairs of the world? Even if we want to retreat, others might not necessarily let us. Emperor Yi smiled bitterly. She didn't like to fight. If it wasn't for Yi Qinghan, she would have already stayed on that desolate island with Medusa. The two of them kept their spirit pets and turned to leave. In the Sisui Plain, a storm was brewing. Experts gradually appeared and began probing attacks to divert everyone's attention. However, the main target of the Fiend God faction was Qin Wenyan of the Inner Sect. Yushin had given a death order. They had to bring Qin Wenyan back to the Fiend God Mountain safely, no matter the cost. The experts of the witch faction also felt the restlessness of the fiend god faction, but they didn't know that their true target was Qin Wenyan. After all, that child had been in the inner sect for so long and no one had fought over her. Most importantly, the defense of Godfire City was so strong that even a sovereign god would need half a day to attack it. By that time, the inner sect would have been transferred to the Divine Weapon sect. No one would be able to snatch her away. As for why the experts of the witch faction didn't choose to kill Qin Wenyan, they must have their own reasons. The inner sect didn't know how much the witch faction wanted to kill Qin Wenyan. The Fiend God faction's Atlas Battle Physique, the 6th-ranked Black Tiger Physique, Tiger Liang, and Demon Fiend began attacking the secret strongholds of the witch faction from the east and south respectively, attracting the attention of the witch faction. However, the sovereigns began to move around the periphery, making it impossible to find out their intentions. The witch faction had no choice but to ask the 5th-ranked Guangwu Battle Physique and 3 or 4 sovereigns' direct disciples to take action. The 2 sovereigns' direct disciples had no problem dealing with the Atlas Battle Physique. After all, their cultivation levels were much higher than Atlas. This era was an era of elites. Those who lived in this era would either defy the heavens or live out the rest of their lives in misery. Moreover, it was best to live in a small plane. Such a large plane would easily be implicated. Taoist Jiushan didn't understand what Demon Fiend was doing. He actually alarmed the sovereigns and the 2 sovereigns to take action. They began to order the Divine Weapon sect to enter a state of war. Even Godfire City was put on high alert. The inner sect also smelled the scent of gunpowder and began to withdraw their forces. What is the demon faction doing? It's obviously a diversion. What kind of target is worthy of them using 2 sovereigns to attract the attention of the witch faction and 2 sovereigns to attack from the periphery? Yichen Tian asked with a frown. Gu Qingyu furrowed his brows and turned his gaze to Qin Wenyan. She had the 3rd-ranked battle physique, which was already equivalent to a paramount god. Only she could make the Devil God faction mobilize so many experts. Qin Wenyan had matured, and his destiny gene had also erupted. However, there were no signs of him returning to the Devil God faction. If it was him, he would also be anxious, let alone someone from the Devil God faction. They might be coming for the insane sect. Everyone be careful. We can't fight against the sovereigns for now. I'm not confident in dealing with the Black Tiger Physique, Gu Qingyu said in a low voice. They're not coming for my wife, are they? Yichen Tian asked in surprise. Love was a habit. After calling Qin Wenyan his wife for so many years, even if he didn't love her at first, he had feelings for her now. That kind of possessiveness was stronger than love. If they took her away now, Yichen Tian wouldn't let go. Everyone in the inner sect was also enlightened. Ethereal Physique was the 3rd-ranked sovereign physique, followed by 2 supreme gods. This meant that when the Ethereal Physique grew up, he would be comparable to a supreme god. At the very least, he would be the strongest under the supreme god. Such an existence was definitely worth the demon faction mobilizing their forces to fight for him. However, they were afraid that the witch faction would kill Qin Wenyan first. Everyone looked at Qin Wenyan curiously. They didn't know what Yi Qinghan had done to make Qin Wenyan stay in the inner sect, instead of leaving the insane sect and returning to the Demon God Mountain to receive a systematic education. Qin Wenyan shrugged and curled his lips. Uncle is my family, they are not. Why would they want me? Anyway, I won't help them. I don't believe in fate. I'm me, not the 1st-generation ethereal physique. Wife, don't lie to me. If you want to leave now, before my father comes back, you should leave quickly. I won't stop you. But if you leave when I can't leave you, I'll break your legs, Yichen Tian said seriously. Tisk. You speak as if you can leave me now. Why don't you leave me and I'll break 3 of your legs? Qin Wenyan retorted domineeringly. Pff, everyone in the inner sect laughed. This pair of buffoons had terrifying talents, but they were always fooling around. Chapter 809. The inner sect had always been optimistic. Even though they knew that the demonic god's target was the inner sect, no one was afraid of death. They only defended themselves while secretly contacting Taoist Jiushan to make preparations for a retreat. Only after being reminded by the inner sect did Taoist Jioshan realize that the demonic god's target was most likely the ethereal physique. In the shaman camp, Taoist Dragon Crouching, who inherited the primal chaos, was an outstanding expert. He wasn't a primal chaos expert like Yushin, but he could instantly kill other existences of the same generation. After receiving Taoist Jioshan's message, he led 3 other overgods to Divine Artifact Sect, quietly waiting for the demonic god's arrival. There were only so many overgod sparks, about 3,500 of them. Even after so many years of refining them, the total number of overgod sparks didn't exceed 3,700. Many of them had already disappeared. In this era, even if all the overgod experts appeared, there wouldn't be more than 500 of them. Killing one meant one less. Ambushing 2 overgods would result in heavy losses for the demonic god's side. Time passed quietly. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were rushing back from the edge of the universe. However, they didn't know that someone was trying to track them down. That person was Zixien, the person with different pupils. Zixien actually managed to reverse the trajectory of Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi. However, it took her a lot of time. In order not to waste her life source, she spent 100 years on the road. Unfortunately, she was still a step too late. When she arrived at the valley, Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi had just left for half a day. Zixien frowned as she looked at the valley. Yi Qinghan had just left, so it was easy to deduce their trajectory. Therefore, she didn't hesitate and chased after them. The inheritance of the person with different pupils was passed down from one bloodline to another. Thus, Zixian's talent was like the Violet Emperor. Once she matured, she would become another Violet Emperor, an existence comparable to the great demonic god and primal chaos shaman god. However, to reach that level, she would need a huge amount of resources. This was also the reason why the bloodline of the Violet Emperor had yet to produce a supreme god. Zixian pursued them relentlessly. Finally, a month later, he caught up with Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi in a small plain. Yi Qinghan sensed that someone was chasing him, and when he turned around, he saw that it was someone with other pupils. He could not help but ask in surprise, "Fairy, how did you find me?" Zixian heaved a sigh of relief and said, "I knew you weren't dead. I have something to ask of you this time." Yi Qinghan nodded. Zixian had helped him several times. Since she had asked, there was no reason to refuse, so he said, "Fairy, please speak. If it is within my power, I will do my best." "Help me find the celestial battle body," Zixian said firmly. "Celestial combat body?" Yi Qinghan was stunned. The 8th-ranked constitution was probably more valuable than the 3rd-ranked one. Why did Zixian want him? There was a record of this person in the secret history. There was only one sentence. The celestial combat body is a loner. No one knows its combat strength or cultivation status. Everything is unknown. If the 2nd sorcerer god said so, this person must be extremely difficult to find. I know nothing about the celestial combat body. I'm afraid it will be difficult to find him, Yi Qinghan said honestly. I know you have a chance to find him. She is a woman, and the celestial combat body is only passed down to women. I don't know if the 1st generation of the celestial combat body is dead or not, but I know that once he is dead, the 2nd generation of the celestial combat body must have appeared, Zixian replied. Yi Qinghan was silent for a moment, then nodded, indicating that he would do his best to help. Zixian looked at Emperor Yi and asked in surprise, "It was you who obtained the origin of the Chaos Dragon. The current era is indeed in chaos. Only one of the Overgod's prophecies is accurate." Emperor Yi nodded kindly. Zixian had helped the inner sect a few times, so their relationship was quite good. She only talked about benefits with Yi Qinghan, not about feelings. There was no need to be jealous. Yi Qinghan was curious. The 21 overgods had all left behind prophecies, but 20 of them were the same. Only one prophecy was different from the others, and that was the Purple Emperor's prophecy. No one knew what the Purple Emperor had prophesied. Only the direct descendants of the Purple Emperor knew, and it was passed down from generation to generation. "Fairy, can you tell me what the Purple Emperor had prophesied?" Yi Qinghan asked. Zixian shook her head without hesitation. She refused to answer. I can only tell you that no one can escape fate. History will indeed repeat itself. This is the similarity between the 21 overgods' prophecies. However, there is one difference, and that is the second half of my ancestors' prophecies. They are now being verified one by one, so I need to find the celestial battle body and have her help me become a overgod. Zixian explained her purpose of finding the celestial battle body. Yi Qinghan looked at Zixian. He still didn't know her name, but he didn't ask. He cupped his fists and said, "Fairy, I want to escape fate. I don't believe in some bullshit fate. I only believe in myself. If you think so, then I hope you can cooperate with me when you become a overgod. I don't belong to the witch tribe, and I definitely don't belong to the great demonic god's bloodline. I only want to stand outside the rules. I don't want to participate in the struggles of any factions. I only want to protect myself." Zixian lowered her head in silence. Her fingertips trembled. She recalled a sentence in the Purple Emperor's prophecy: "There will always be someone in the world who can tear apart the curse of the overgods. There will always be someone in the world who can break free from the shackles. If there isn't, then the universe will eventually be destroyed." The previous sentence had already come true. The one who tore apart the curse of the overgods wasn't Yi Qinghan, but Emperor Yi. Then, was the one who broke free from the shackles Yi Qinghan? Back then, my ancestor was forced to participate in the war and perished. Before he left, he already sensed that death was imminent. He left behind an ancestral teaching that forbade our clansmen from interfering in the war between the factions. "Whether or not we join forces with you depends on the situation," Zixian said frankly. She didn't agree. "However, I must remind you that since Emperor Yi was able to break the curse of the overgods and obtain the origin of the Chaos Dragons, he must be wary of the other overgod successors. Their inheritances come from the will of the overgods. However, Emperor Yi didn't die because of your plundering. The other overgod successors will definitely be wary of Emperor Yi. They might even try to assassinate him first, regardless of the cost. It's very likely that the two factions will join forces to kill him. In the face of benefits, there is no such thing as eternal hatred," Zixian said in a serious tone. Yi Qinghan was shocked. Indeed, the overgod's inheritances couldn't be plundered. He had experienced it firsthand, and had almost been tortured to death. However, after Emperor Yi received the inheritance, he didn't suffer any backlash. Instead, the origin of the inheritance automatically condensed into a overgod personality. If it were any other overgod successor, it would be strange if they didn't fear Emperor Yi. There were 21 successors. Excluding the inheritances of the great demonic god and the chaos sorcerer god, Zixian, the Purple Emperor's successor, and the Chaos Dragon's successor, there were still 17. If these 17 successors joined forces, their power would definitely be earth-shattering. These 17 had already surpassed the power of battle constitutions. Chapter 8:10. Yi Qinghan separated with Emperor Yi and Violet Deity. They traveled as fast as lightning, chasing after the wind and chasing after shadows. They continuously traversed countless small planes. However, they discovered that the small planes were constantly moving. It was very slow, but even the main gods could sense that the planes were slowly moving. The 10 battle constitutions had appeared quietly, but they had not gathered yet. Once they gathered, the chaotic universe might really reappear in the world. "Master, the planes are moving, and they seem to be accelerating." Emperor Ye's soul was powerful, and his senses were superb. He sensed the planes moving before Yi Qinghan. After Yi Qinghan was reminded, he carefully observed the small planes and found that they were really moving. He thought that it was only this small plane that was moving, but when he moved to the next small plane, he found that it was still moving. Only then did he confirm that the entire universe was changing positions. Some small planes completely overlapped, and the border river disappeared, forming a middle plane. This scene was happening in different places. Those who had the battle constitutions would rule the world. The great demonic divine body and the 9 revolution chaotic Tao body were not for others. They must have been inherited by the great demonic god and the shaman bloodlines. The remaining ones were the void Tao bodies. The third was the ethereal body, The 5th was the Guangwu battle body, the 6th was the Black Tiger battle body, the 7th was the Astral battle body, the 8th was the Celestial battle body, the 9th was the Sun-Moon battle body, and the 10th was the Atlas battle body. How could there be such a coincidence? They actually appeared at the same time. They haven't even met up yet, but they've already begun to shake the heavens and the earth. The plane has shifted. What will happen if the 10 of them get together? Sigh, I'm becoming a stupid bird. I don't know anything about battle constitutions and supreme gods. The divine bird sighed. It imagined how carefree it was when it knew everything, but now it was sad. It's okay. You weren't very useful in the past anyway. I won't despise you. Yi Qinghan shook his head. The divine bird rolled its eyes, then squatted on Yi Qinghan's shoulder dispiritedly. It wanted to make a contribution and show the prestige of the all-beast divine emperor. Many strangers appeared in Divine Fire City in the Sisui realm overnight. No one knew which camp they were from, but most of them were half-step lords. This attracted Gu Qingyu's attention, and he began to set up his defenses. He would be the first obstacle, Qitian Monkey King would be the second obstacle, Xian Yan would be the third obstacle, and Yi Chen Tian would be the fourth obstacle. As long as the first obstacle was attacked, the inner sect members would begin to retreat to the divine artifact sect to ensure that Qin Wentian would not be taken away. Qin Wentian's ranking was the highest, but his realm was the lowest. There was a huge gap between him and the other battle constitutions, so he couldn't form a huge combat strength. On this day, the night was as dark as ink, and it was difficult to see one's fingers in front of one's face. It was a moonless and windy night. Surprisingly, the two overgods didn't attack Divine Fire City. Instead, they circled around the city and attacked the back mountain of Divine Artifact Sect. Caught off guard, Divine Artifact Sect lost its forbidden grounds on the spot. The flames of war spread to the interior of Divine Artifact Sect. They didn't even have time to activate their defensive formations. This was the might of the overgods. If they wanted to attack Divine Artifact Sect, no matter how strong their defenses were, they wouldn't be able to do anything. Dragon Crouching Taoist personally led the two overgods in a strong counterattack. The back mountain was razed to the ground. It was 3 against 2. Although the demonic gods were at a disadvantage, they didn't choose to retreat. Instead, they continued to attack wildly. If it weren't for the Divine Artifact Palace blocking the aftershocks, Divine Artifact Sect might have been destroyed on the spot. Divine Fire City was also in chaos at this moment. More than 10 half-step overgods attacked at the same time, but they didn't attack the inner sect of Insane Sect. The flames of war between the two places ignited a huge fire. The native powerhouses in Divine Fire City were enraged. They attacked the attackers in a frenzy, trying to drive them out of Divine Fire City and activate the defensive formation of Divine Fire City to prevent innocent casualties. All half-step overgod weapons were summoned. The darkness was torn apart, and the shadows of swords and sabers were everywhere. At this moment, 3 black-robed figures appeared quietly. They were the Black Tiger Combat Constitution, the Sun-Moon Combat Constitution, and the Atlas Combat Constitution of the Great Demonic God Clan. The 3 powerhouses pounced on the inner sect at the same time. Our target is the ethereal physique. The outer sect can't hold them off for long, so we just need to injure those in the inner sect. Tiger Liang whispered to the 2 of them. The 2 of them nodded and followed Tiger Liang. They moved forward quietly, flashing in the darkness without any fluctuation of divine power. If it weren't for the flames outside tearing the darkness apart, even their shadows would be hard to detect. With the 3 constitutions, he would be able to kill any powerful ancient sect and retreat after accomplishing his mission. However, they were destined to fail this time. When Divine Fire City and Divine Weapon Sect were attacked, the 30 inner sect powerhouses and a group of juniors were divided into 5 teams. They were led by Gu Qingyu, Qitian Monkey King, Yi Chen Tian, Xian Yan, and Di Long Tian respectively. Di Long Tian and Lin Wutian led a large group of juniors to hide in the dark, ready to kill anyone who came to offend them. The inner sect territory was extremely quiet. It was so quiet that it was as if nothing had happened outside. Something's not right. Divine Fire City and Divine Weapon Sect are fighting so fiercely. Why isn't the Insane Sect doing anything? The Sun Moon Combat Constitution asked with a frown. There is indeed something wrong. It's just the Insane Sect. Don't worry about it. I'll deal with the others. The two of you can leave after taking the ethereal physique. Tiger Liang said proudly. With the three of them working together, they could even take down the Divine Weapon Sect, let alone the Insane Sect. However, what they didn't know was that the three of them were entering the Inner Sect's encirclement. The Inner Sect had formed a huge half-moon shape. Tiger Liang and the other two were entering the center of the half-moon. As combat constitutions, they were used to being arrogant. Even though they had investigated the Insane Sect's young powerhouses before coming, the highest realm among them was only a half-step over God. The weakest was even a supreme god. Di Longtian led a group of juniors to quietly seal the half-moon. The encirclement was getting smaller and smaller. Tiger Liang realized something was wrong. He spread out his divine sense and found that he was surrounded. Ignorant ants. How dare you surround me? Tiger Liang sneered and waved his hand. He signaled to Qing Tian, leave this group to us. You go find the ethereal physique. Suddenly, the surroundings were lit up by torches. The Inner Sect members no longer hid and all stood out. They looked at the three of them. Although they couldn't recognize them, they were sure that Qing Tian had a combat constitution. Someone who could talk to Qing Tian in such a tone must have a combat constitution as well. The Black Tiger Combat Constitution and the Sun Moon Combat Constitution have appeared. Qin Wenyan had a special sense for combat constitutions. He instantly identified the two. Three combat constitutions, known as the Unparalleled Combat Constitutions. Today, three of them appeared. Don't even think about leaving, Yichen Tian said coldly. Haha, I wonder what will happen to the great demonic gods clan after losing three combat constitutions at once? Di Longtian sneered. With just you bunch of ants? Get lost if you don't want to die. Otherwise, I'll be angry tonight and dye the Insane Sect red with blood, Tiger Liang scolded disdainfully. Qing Tian stared at Qin Wenyan and asked in a deep voice, Ethereal physique, have you forgotten your destiny? Come with me now. The demonic god mountain is waiting for you to accept the inheritance. Chapter 8:11. Qin Wenyan and Yi Chintian stood together, holding each other's hands. Looking at the Atlas battle physique, Qin Wenyan asked in surprise, Destiny? The great demonic god wants me to die at the last moment. Sai, why should I follow his will? I wasn't raised by him. I was raised by my uncle. The only one who can make me die for him is my uncle. Who does the great demonic god think he is? The three battle physiques trembled and looked at Qin Wenyan in disbelief. They didn't know where this idea came from. Could it be that the great demonic god's will was for the incorporeal physique to die? Absolutely impossible. Even a fool wouldn't plant such a will, let alone the great demonic god. Moreover, the great demonic god definitely valued the incorporeal physique more than the other battle physiques. How could he let the incorporeal physique die at the last moment? Who are you listening to this nonsense from? Someone changed your memory inheritance. Tiger Liang said angrily. The people of the Inner Sect looked at each other. This was the first time they heard Qin Wenyan say that the great demonic god's will was actually this. If someone had really changed Qin Wenyan's memory inheritance, only Yi Qinghan would have the chance. After all, Qin Wenyan only followed Yi Qinghan when he was young. Yi Qinghan didn't know that Yi Qinghan had changed Qin Wenyan's will. Yi Qinghan really didn't tell him about this. In fact, Qin Wenyan didn't know that Yi Qinghan had tampered with Qin Wenyan's memory inheritance and some of his soul. Only Emperor Yi knew. You're the one who's talking nonsense. My memory inheritance is very complete. No one touched it. Even if it was, I was willing to do it. You bunch of idiots will be killed by that bastard the great demonic god sooner or later, Qin Wenyan retorted disdainfully. The three battle physiques trembled with anger. The great father in their hearts was actually insulted by a battle physique. Moreover, it was a battle physique from their own faction, the strongest one. Who touched her memory inheritance? Tiger Liang roared at the inner sect disciples, his eyes filled with murderous intent. Gu Qingyu's lips curled into a smile. If one were to ask who understood Yi Qinghan the most, it would naturally be him. Yi Qinghan appeared to be a man who abided by the rules, a man with a bottom line and principles. But Gu Qingyu understood that in terms of treachery, Yi Qinghan was not to be outdone by the divine bird. As long as it was beneficial to him, Yi Qinghan would do things without a bottom line or principles. He was still worried that Yi Qinghan would suddenly go berserk and kill the inner sect disciples. So it turned out that Yi Qinghan had already prepared a path of retreat. Most probably, changing the devil god fate gene was only the first step. Yi Qinghan had even tampered with her soul. At this moment, two figures flashed across the inner sect territory at lightning speed and landed before the crowd. At this moment, everyone from the insane sect was stunned. Sky High trembled and took a few steps back. He screamed, "Impossible! This is impossible! How can you still be alive?" Yi Qinghan smiled and said indifferently, "Nothing is absolute. It's normal for me to be alive. You guys came to take away the ethereal physique? What a pity." Tiger Liang and the Sun-Moon battle physique did not recognize Yi Qinghan. They only knew that Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were very powerful. The appearance of these two meant that their mission today was doomed to fail. "He's Yi Qinghan. He snatched the Chaos Dragon source and didn't die. This is impossible. How could he have withstood the backlash of the Overgod source?" Sky High was shocked. For the first time, fear appeared in his eyes as he looked at Yi Qinghan. Yes, the battle physique had never felt fear, but now it was. "Yi Qinghan? What did you just say? What a pity." Tiger Liang frowned and asked. "It's a pity that we suffered a double loss. The three of you can stay behind as well," Yi Qinghan said coldly. "Ridiculous. Who do you think you are? If I want to leave, even an overgod can't stop me." Tiger Liang was arrogant. He had the 6th-ranked battle physique and was also a half-step overgod. An overgod really could not stop him. "I want to try." Emperor Yi waved his hand, and the human emperor's Guqin appeared in his hand. His aura changed, and the Chaos Dragon's divine might covered the sky and earth, enveloping the entire divine flame city's territory. Thud, thud, thud. Tiger Liang and Sky High's 3 battle physiques were so frightened that they took 3 steps back. They looked at Emperor Yi in disbelief. "It's you. You're the one who inherited the Chaos Dragon's supreme godhead." At this moment, Sky High was not the only one who was shocked and terrified. Tiger Liang and the Sun-Moon battle physique were also scared. The supreme god was a supreme god. With a supreme godhead, even if the 3 of them worked together, they might not be able to defeat Emperor Yi. Tiger Liang was about to go crazy, and Sky High was going crazy. One after another, impossible things were happening right in front of their eyes. Yi Qinghan did not suffer any backlash from seizing the supreme origin, and Emperor Yi actually did it again. Not only did he not die, but he also condensed a supreme godhead. This was simply unprecedented. The Sun-Moon battle physique gulped, and he wanted to retreat. Sush. Yi Qinghan drew his sword and looked at Emperor Yi to determine their opponents. Hum. Emperor Yi tested the Guqin, and the sound of the Guqin reverberated. Even the overgods fighting inside the divine weapon sect were stunned. They felt their hair stand on end, as if they saw a chaos dragon sweeping through space and time to devour the mountains and rivers. Boom! The 3 battle physiques were stunned by the dragon's aura. Their blood flow stagnated, and they even lost control of their divine sparks. At this moment, Yi Qinghan swung his sword and slashed at the Sun-Moon battle physique. His aura soared into the sky and moved mountains and seas. Kill! Gu Qingyu, Qitian Monkey King, and the others joined forces to attack Sky High. The inner sect had never been afraid of being accused of bullying with numbers. Their biggest goal was to make sure no one died. Sky High was blown away and coughed up blood. He was quite sullen. In the Chaos era, battle physiques would never lose, at least not to others. They would only lose to battle physiques. However, ever since he was born, he had been defeated twice by Yi Qinghan and then by Li Feng. Now, He was completely helpless against a group of inner sect disciples. At this moment, he could only be described as sullen. Rise of the sun and moon, reverse the yin and yang. The sun-moon battle physique struggled out of his panic. His blood flow recovered, and he formed a seal with his palms. The sun and moon appeared at the same time, tearing apart the darkness and illuminating the world. Hum. Emperor Yi played the guqin, his 10 fingers plucking the strings at the same time. It was as if a chaos dragon had appeared, roaring in the sky and affecting the blood flow of the experts. Boom! A strand of guqin music rushed into Tiger Liang's mind and exploded. He was already in a sorry state before the battle even started. He kept retreating, trying to escape. Tiger Liang roared, trying to control his blood flow and manifest his origin battle physique. A huge black tiger appeared as if it was real. It roared at the sky, its fangs piercing through the void as it pounced on Emperor Yi. Emperor Yi played the guqin again, and the strings were easily destroyed. The music turned into a chaos dragon from the ancient times. The dragon's head was visible, but its tail was nowhere to be seen. It opened its mouth and swallowed the mountains and rivers. Emperor Yi tiptoed and appeared on the head of the chaos dragon. His divine robe danced in the wind, and he was incomparably holy, like a goddess descending to the mortal world. The black tiger battle physique vomited blood because of this aura. It wasn't that he wasn't strong enough, but that the black tiger he formed wasn't real. Once it reached its strongest state, it could become a real chaos beast. A black tiger could tear a dragon apart. However, the black tiger was only an illusion. The illusion was shattered by the chaos dragon's roar, and it even affected his soul. He coughed up blood on the spot. Unless the chaos sacred beast appeared again, no one could provoke Emperor Yi. On the other side, although Yi Qinghan wasn't as strong as Emperor Yi, he was extremely powerful and almost suppressed the sun-moon battle physique. He was only a 5 elements Dao body, but he was able to resist the sun-moon battle physique. Once he formed the 9 revolution chaotic Dao body, he would definitely be comparable to or even surpass Emperor Yi. Chapter 8:12. The current situation was just as Yi Qinghan had said. Unfortunately, even their 3 great battle constitutions were going to die in the insane sect. Sky Pillar was the most miserable. He was surrounded and beaten by the inner sect members, and from time to time, he would be kicked from behind. Gu Qingyu and the others attacked, and he couldn't even dodge. Fortunately, it was a group of juniors who had no intention of killing him. Otherwise, he would have been dead long ago. However, Tiger Liang's soul was the most miserable. He was under the pressure of a paramount god's soul, and his soul was somewhat distorted by Emperor Ye's torture. He only wanted to escape, but he was beaten back by Emperor Yi every time he tried. Gather! Combo! Tiger Liang was terrified. He was powerless to face Emperor Yi alone. Right now, Emperor Yi was fighting him with a cheat code. Unless another overgod successor came along and formed a supreme godhead, only then would they be able to influence the outcome of the battle. Otherwise, even an ordinary master god might not be able to influence the outcome of the battle. But how could the Sun-Moon battle constitution and Sky Pillar have a chance to escape? Tiger Liang was forced to retreat. The Sun-Moon battle constitution's entire body shone brightly, forming a blazing sun. Its realm seemed to be even higher than Tiger Liang's, and the sun and moon it formed were both illusory and real. It possessed true offensive power. The moon was soft and the yang was hot. The reversal of yin and yang could cause the yin and yang in a person's body to go haywire and die a miserable death. Yi Qinghan's every strike was as powerful as it could get. The battle in the Divine Fire City stopped, and everyone looked in the direction of the Kuang Zone. Their eyes were filled with horror. The chaotic giant dragon's head was in the Sisui Plain. Its body seemed to have come from outer space, but it also seemed to have come from another plane. They couldn't see where it started. The majestic melody made people's blood boil, and everyone in Godfire City was affected. The weak-willed people fainted on the spot, and the strong-willed people were worse off than the weak-willed. At least their souls were no longer tortured. Bang! A strand of melody turned into a giant warblade, cleaving through the sky and smashing into Tiger Liang's chest. Tiger Liang was sent flying into the distance like a kite with its string cut. The 6th-ranked battle constitution had been defeated, but it wasn't a disgrace. Losing to Emperor Yi, a paramount god who represented the primordial dragons, was still a glorious defeat. Just as Emperor Yi was about to make his move, an even stronger tiger roar rang out. Even dragon-crouching Taoist was shocked. He turned his head to look at the sky above Divine Fire City and saw Demon Tiger Lord descending from the sky in the form of a giant demonic tiger. He slammed his palm towards the inner sect, and his chi soared into the galaxy. The entire Divine Fire City was swept away, and the houses collapsed while the experts were sent flying. Ding! Emperor Yi gave up on killing Tiger Liang. He manipulated the Chaos Dragon's phantom to turn its head and bite at demonic tiger deity. Run! Yi Qinghan signaled to Yi Chintian and the others, but he himself followed Emperor Ye's figure and charged forward. He unleashed all of his combat power, hoping to buy some time. 12 divine personas emerged from his body and poured out at the same time, transforming into a giant saber that reached the sky. He stepped on the illusory image of a giant dragon and charged toward the dragon's head, ready to join forces with Emperor Yi. Overgod. Demonic tiger deity was no ordinary overgod. His combat power was terrifying. He could kill a pinnacle supreme god with his will, and even a strand of his hair could turn into a divine weapon to kill a half-step overgod. The inner sect disciples were definitely no match for him. Run! Gu Qingyu and the others gave up on chasing after Qing Tian and the Sun and Moon Combat Constitution at the same time and fled toward Divine Weapon Sect. Yi Tian pulled Qin Wenyan and charged forward. Wind Mark turned into tens of thousands of shadows, but his real body fled in the opposite direction. Yi Tian's reaction was correct, because demonic tiger deity did not fight Emperor Yi and Yi Qinghan head-on. Instead, he flashed and took away the 3 combat constitutions. He flashed again and directly grabbed the 2 who were running toward Divine Weapon Sect. However, as soon as he touched the illusory images, the 2 turned into nothingness. Only then did he realize that he had been tricked. Retreat. Mission failed. Whoosh! Demonic tiger deity did not think about killing Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi, nor did he attack the inner sect disciples. He flew into the sky with the 3 combat constitutions and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. The fiend gods in Godfire City managed to escape, but the 2 overgods in Artifact Sect had a hard time escaping. Taoist Dragon Crouching and 2 other experts led by Taoist Dragon Crouching managed to hold them back. One of them was seriously injured, and the other had to use a forbidden art, wasting more than half of his life essence to bring him away. The 2 overgods were almost crippled. Even if they survived, the resources used were immeasurable. Moreover, they could not recover in a short period of time. That scared me to death. Fortunately, I didn't run toward Divine Weapon Sect with them. Otherwise, that palm strike would have definitely turned me into dust. Yi Chintian was sweating profusely. Coward, aren't you called Chintian the Great God? Why are you so scared? Qin Wenyan mocked him in disdain. Damn you! That's an overgod. I'm the high god. Didn't you see how fast he was? He caught my afterimage in an instant. Yi Chintian replied unhappily. Yi Qinghan did not chase after him. Instead, he heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, demonic tiger deity was worried that he would be surrounded by the shamans after killing the inner sect disciples. Otherwise, the arrogant sect would have suffered a great loss. Although he did not kill the 3 combat constitutions, he was satisfied that he was able to escape from an overgod. Are you guys alright? The incorporeal body was not captured, right? Dragon Crouching Taoist felt that it was a pity that he did not manage to kill the 2 overgods. The battle between overgods was cruel, and it was difficult to kill them completely. However, such a good opportunity was missed. Yi Qinghan shook his head and descended with Emperor Yi. Looking at the 3 overgods in front of him, he clasped his fists and said, "Thank you seniors for guarding the Divine Tool sect and protecting my arrogant sect." Dragon Crouching Taoist nodded and turned his gaze to Emperor Yi. He did not bother to communicate with Yi Qinghan. What he cared about was Emperor Yi and the incorporeal body. So it's this fellow Taoist who obtained the Chaos Dragon's godhead. Congratulations. Dragon Crouching Taoist bowed to Emperor Yi instead. Emperor Yi could not help but groan when he saw Dragon Crouching Taoist ignoring Yi Qinghan. He did not even bother to pay attention to Yi Qinghan. Dragon Crouching Taoist stood awkwardly at the side. Only then did he realize that the backbone of Emperor Yi was Yi Qinghan. You are the sect master of arrogant sect, Yi Qinghan? This old man is Dragon Crouching Taoist. This time, I wanted to use this opportunity to ambush the overgod of the demonic god clan. Unfortunately, I failed at the last step and they almost succeeded. This incorporeal body cannot be obtained by the demonic god clan. Fellow Taoist, please allow me to take her away. Dragon Crouching Taoist said in a low voice. Yi Qinghan frowned. This Dragon Crouching Taoist was so domineering. It was as if he was ordering him. Impossible. She is my daughter-in-law. I will protect her myself. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Fellow Taoist, please prioritize the common people. This girl cannot be left alive. She must be eliminated as soon as possible. Dragon Crouching Taoist said firmly. You're bullshitting me. Would you let me handle your woman? Yi Qingtian was enraged. This Dragon Crouching Taoist actually wanted to kill his daughter-in-law in front of him. Even if his cultivation realm was low, he would not be able to endure it. Qin Wentian couldn't help but pull him back. He looked at Yi Qinghan. A overgod was a overgod. His will was not to be defied. Brat, you are talking to a overgod. Don't be unreasonable. There are many talented geniuses. Even the incorporeal body would not speak to Dragon Crouching Taoist like this. One of the overgods behind Dragon Crouching Taoist changed his aura and pressed down on Yi Qingtian. Swish! Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and pulled Yi Qingtian and Qin Wentian behind him. He looked at the three overgods with dissatisfaction. Chapter 8:13. Yi Qinghan looked at the three overgods with dissatisfaction. How dare they do such a thing? Did they really think they were invincible? Emperor Yi moved to the side and unleashed his dragon aura towards the three overgods. These two children are my son and daughter-in-law. If you want to touch them, you should at least ask for my permission. Don't think that you are superior just because you are an overgod. Your will is not the will of the insane sect. Dragon Crouching Taoist frowned. Emperor Yi represented the Chaos Dragon and was also a supreme god. Now that the supreme godhead had been formed, he represented the upper echelons of the sorcerer race. Other than the first sorcerer god, the Chaos Dragon was the strongest person who was willing to help the sorcerer god. No one in the sorcerer race dared to blaspheme the dignity of the Chaos Dragon. My lord, the incorporeal body is the enemy of the sorcerer race. In the future, he will definitely bring disaster to the world. Our ancestors sacrificed a lot to destroy the bloodline of the great demonic god. If the incorporeal body is allowed to grow again, the world will fall into darkness again. You are the inheritor of the Chaos Dragon and should have inherited the memories. I think you should know better than me. Please reconsider. Dragon Crouching Taoist said with a bow. The one who is going against the sorcerer race is the first incorporeal body, Yao Yang. It has nothing to do with the incorporeal body and Wenyan. Don't put the cart before the horse. Wenyan has been following my husband since he was 3 years old and has never left. This already shows that there is a problem. The problem lies with the person, not the incorporeal body. Emperor Yi said coldly. Fate genes cannot be changed. Even if Yi Qinghan can let her stay in the insane sect temporarily, she will not be able to stay in the future. I have seen too many of such situations. Dragon Crouching Taoist said in a deep voice. That is also my problem. It has nothing to do with you. I am not as noble as you. I am only responsible for the insane sect. I am not responsible for the world. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. How can you be so irresponsible? It's everyone's responsibility to protect the world. If we kill the wrong person, we won't let him go. The ethereal body can't be left alive. If you don't agree today, I'll ask my superiors to come down and deal with it. Taoist Dragon Crouching stared at Yi Qinghan coldly. He was getting more and more dissatisfied with Yi Qinghan's selfishness. "I don't care if you kill others, but you can't kill my people," Yi Qinghan retorted angrily. The two sides were at each other's throats. Although the crazy sect was weaker, they were not afraid of death. They drew their swords at the same time and surrounded the three overgods in a half-moon formation. Taoist Jiushan was embarrassed. He hurriedly rushed out of the sect and stood in the middle. He said in a deep voice, "Fellow Taoists, seniors, please don't fight among yourselves. We'll make a fool of ourselves in front of the fiend's celestial lineage. As for the incorporeal spirit body, let's discuss it at length." Inside, Yi Qinghan snorted. He had never admitted that he was a member of the sorcerer tribe. Not in the past, not in the future. Based on the way the three of them handled things, they were incompatible with the crazy sect. Ask the young master to uphold justice. I won't let anything happen to the third-ranked incorporeal spirit body. Taoist Dragon Crouching gestured to one of the overgods behind him and whispered. In the eyes of the three overgods, there was only one person who could be the young master. That person was the descendant of the primal chaos sorcerer god, the chaotic Tao body of 9 revolutions. Yi Qinghan's eyebrows twitched. He did not expect the person with the chaotic Tao body of 9 revolutions to be born. He suddenly remembered the second sorcerer god's request and did not take the opportunity to leave. He told the chaotic Tao body of the second sorcerer god's matter and told him how to deal with it. From now on, he would have nothing to do with the sorcerer tribe. One of the overgods left at an extremely fast speed and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Taoist Jiushan did not know what to do. If they were to fight, it would be equivalent to breaking up the sorcerer tribe. After all, Emperor Yi represented the chaotic dragon and the young master represented the supreme chaotic sorcerer god. Yi Qinghan, you'll become a sinner in history. You'll make your enemies happy and your loved ones sad. Taoist Dragon Crouching still wanted to persuade Yi Qinghan. If Emperor Yi was not here, he would not have to waste his breath. I've never believed in history. The winner is the king. You don't have to force me with morals. I'm not that noble. If you want to kill us today, you'd better destroy the crazy sect in one go. If any of us escape, we'll regret it for the rest of our lives. Yi Qinghan replied coldly. You! Taoist Dragon Crouching was furious and could not control himself. Yi Qinghan raised his hand and said to the people of the crazy sect, "Today, I declare that the crazy sect will be disbanded. You may think of the crazy sect, but remember one thing. Whether it's the sorcerer tribe or the great demon god, it's not a problem for you to kill the experts of the crazy sect if you're in the same realm. However, if you kill the experts of the inner sect with a higher realm, you'll have to take revenge in the future. We'll fight to the death." The people of the crazy sect looked at Yi Qinghan in surprise. They did not expect him to make such a decision. However, the determination in Yi Qinghan's eyes was irrefutable. His ruthlessness shocked even the overgods. As the leader of a small sect, he dared to threaten people from 2 major factions at the same time. Only the arrogant sect would dare to do such a thing. Yi Qinghan's actions might have been a bit impulsive, but he was also choosing a side. However, he didn't choose to side with any of them. He chose to remain neutral. This way, the great demonic god's bloodline wouldn't be asking for trouble and offend Yi Qinghan. This was a way of protecting themselves. Qinghan. Gu Qingyu frowned. Yi Qinghan's decision might keep the people of the inner sect safe, but it would put him in danger. It's okay. You can leave. After today, there will be no more crazy sect. Yi Qinghan said firmly. The experts of the Divine Fire City heard Yi Qinghan's decision clearly. The news spread like thunder in an instant. Everyone in the Sisui realm knew about it. Finally, it spread to the Demon God Mountain. The people of the great Demon God tribe were overjoyed. Yi Qinghan had a falling out with the people of the Witch God tribe. This was good for the Demon God tribe. This is the best news. Although the crazy sect is of the younger generation, their battle strength is not bad. Especially when Emperor Yi is in the crazy sect. Haha, the Witch tribe has shot themselves in the foot this time. Dragon Crouching Taoist is really our lucky star. Demonic Tiger Deity laughed. At the same time, In the Witch God Mountain, two ultimate experts of the witch tribe bloodline were awakened. They were furious when they heard that Dragon Crouching Taoist was so aggressive towards the inheritor of the Chaos Dragon. Idiot! This is ridiculous! A white-haired elder was flustered and exasperated. His old fingertips were trembling with anger as he paced back and forth in the palace. Let little 12 handle it. It's time for him to appear. The other elder frowned and sighed. In the witch tribe's secret territory, there was a 7-foot-tall young man. He looked at most 18 or 19 years old, but he was actually a master god. He held the witch god's spear in his hand and looked like the son of God. At this moment, the message talisman on his waist flashed and a shadow appeared. It was one of the elders in the witch tribe's palace. Little 12, you represent the great Father God. Now that the Chaos Dragon's inheritance has appeared and the first supreme godhead has been condensed, you should go and rope her in. However, she might be very angry today. Even if she is rude to you, you have to bear with it. Back then, the great Father God had to worship the Chaos Dragon thrice to get him to help. You have to have the same mentality as the Father God, understand? The elder said in a deep voice. Great-grandfather, don't worry. I will gather the descendants of the witch tribe and fight against the great demon god tribe. Little 12's name was Wien. He was the descendant of the 8th generation of the witch god. He was ranked 12th in this generation and was called Little 12 by his people. He was indeed young and was from the same generation as Yi Chintian. However, his talent was terrifying. When he was just born, his bloodline was so pure that it surpassed 3 generations of the witch tribe. He even inherited the Chaos Witch God's origin and achieved the 9-revolution Chaos Dao body. Chapter 8:14. In the Godly Fire City, after confirming that the Dragon Crouching Taoist did not dare to make a move, the inner sect members dispersed and left. The elites of the inner sect rushed to different planes and disappeared without a trace. Although the inner sect was disbanded, the spirit of the inner sect was still there. Whoever dared to bully the people of the inner sect would definitely face the wrath of the inner sect. Even the great demonic god did not dare to provoke such an inner sect, let alone the other forces. Some of the hidden powerful sects started to extend olive branches to recruit people from the inner sect. The moment they made a move, they would use the status of honorary deacons. For example, if one didn't have the status of an honorary elder, they wouldn't dare to recruit people from the inner sect. To the Dragon Crouching Taoist, although the insane sect was disbanded, the threat was even greater. Although the group of monsters was strong, their cultivation level was not high enough. Now that they were scattered, it was impossible to kill them one by one. If he offended Yi Qinghan now, when the group of monsters grew up, the witch tribe would not only have to face the great demonic god. At this moment, there were only 4 people left in the inner sect. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi, Yi Chintian and Qin Wenyan, and even the void god Yi and Yun had left. Leaving now was the best choice. If a battle broke out, even Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi would not be able to escape. Take Wenyan and leave the Sisui water surface. Be smart and don't let anyone bully Wenyan. Do you understand? Yi Qinghan transmitted his voice to Yi Chintian. Father! Yi Chintian did not want to leave Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi behind. He took his wife and ran away alone. Stop talking nonsense. If a fight breaks out, you will be a burden. If you all leave, the 3 overgods will not be able to stop me and your mother. If you all stay, how can we leave? Yi Qinghan coldly interrupted Yi Chintian. Yi Chintian thought about it and agreed. He pulled Qin Wenyan and prepared to leave this place. Before the young master arrives, the incorporeal body cannot leave. The Dragon Crouching Taoist's aura changed. His aura was overpowering as he tried to suppress Yi Chintian and Qin Wenyan. The other chief god also exuded the might of a chief god. His will reached the heavens and no one could resist. Emperor Yi and Yi Qinghan exchanged glances and unleashed their attacks at the same time. Emperor Yi plucked the zither and the chaos dragon appeared again. It coiled in the sky and swooped down at Taoist dragon, subduing while its tail slapped at another master god. Yi Qinghan followed the dragon and charged at the other master god. Let's go! Yi Qinghan shouted angrily at Yi Chintian. He wasn't sure if the sorcerer tribe would kill Qin Wenyan. Leaving now was the best choice. Whooshed at the collapse of Divine Fire City had even affected Divine Artifact Sect. A sky-high saber accompanied the giant tail of the Chaos Dragon as it whizzed past. It mixed with the tragic sound of the zither strings, causing the heaven and earth to tremble. On the dragon's head, Emperor Ye's hands were nowhere to be seen. He plucked the zither wildly and launched a soul attack, hoping to stop Taoist Dragon subduing. The dragon opened its mouth and swallowed the galaxy as if it was going to swallow Divine Fire City whole. Divine Fire City was in chaos. Even the half-step chief gods were fleeing with their families, not daring to stay. Taoist Dragon subduing didn't dare to hurt Emperor Yi, so he could only hide. However, the other master god wasn't afraid of killing Yi Qinghan. He attacked furiously, containing the might of heaven and earth. The power of a chief god poured out and destroyed the void. It actually split Divine Fire City into two forcefully, distorting time and space. Boom! The long tail of the Chaos Dragon shook the confinement of the universe and collided with the chief god. Even though it was just an illusion, it still had a substantial attack. Its majestic power could destroy heaven and earth. The sovereign was so powerful that he was able to shatter the illusion of the gigantic dragon, but his body's lifeblood was in a state of disarray from the collision. He found it difficult to control his strength, and before he could even attack to kill Yi Qinghan's frenzy had already arrived near his head. The timing of Yi Qinghan and Emperor Ye's attacks was perfect. The Master God only had time to raise his sword to block before he collided violently with Yi Qinghan's attack. The Master God was unable to withstand the force of the attack, and his body turned into a shooting star as he was sent flying. You must have a death wish. The chief god was enraged. He quickly stabilized himself after crashing into the ground. He controlled his vitality and relied entirely on his combat strength, suppressing all living things around him to the point where they dared not breathe. A chief god was a chief god after all. There was a fundamental difference between a half-step chief god and a chief god. If a chief god wanted to kill a half-step chief god, he could do so with a wave of his hand. The giant dragon's roar shook mountains and rivers. It turned its head and charged at the chief god. Although the giant dragon was huge, its speed wasn't slow at all. It was as fast as lightning, and in the blink of an eye, it was on par with Yi Qinghan. Stop! What are you doing? Are you crazy? With a furious roar, the luminous martial combat constitution turned into a bolt of lightning. His sword pierced through the void and appeared between the two in an attempt to stop them from killing each other. At this moment, Yi Chintian and Qin Wendian had already disappeared from the Divine Fire City. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi did not want to get tangled up with the chief gods either. They retreated dozens of miles away, distancing themselves from them. Ling Xiaoyu, the luminous martial combat constitution, stood in the middle with his sword in hand. His expression was rather gloomy as he glared at the chief god. He questioned coldly, "Chief God Qingao, who gave you the right to attack the Chaos Dragon's heir?" Although the current level of the 10 combat constitutions was lower than that of a chief god's, his status far surpassed that of a chief god's. The chief god before him dared not act recklessly. Yi Qinghan let the ethereal spirit body go. "I only wanted to keep the ethereal spirit body. Is that wrong?" Chen Gao replied in a muffled voice. Crack! Ling Xiaoyu clenched his fists. He was furious that Chen Gao was treating the Supreme God's heir with such insolence. "You can talk to 12 about this." Ling Xiaoyu flicked his sleeves and turned around. He glared at Dragon's subduing Taoist and said angrily, "He doesn't understand. Don't tell me you don't understand either. Doing something that hurts those close to you and makes your enemies happy. How preposterous." Dragon's subduing Taoist's mouth twitched. He had no words to refute. After all, the luminous martial combat constitution's status was too high. He was an existence that was close to Wu Yen. "I was just thinking about the common people. I was a little impatient. Fellow Taoists, please forgive me." Dragon's subduing Taoist bowed slightly to express his apology. Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. He did not want to get tangled up with them anymore. If it wasn't for Wu Yan's arrival, there was no need for him to waste time with them. Fellow Taoists, please don't be calculative with them. However, the two of them really didn't consider the consequences of letting the ethereal spirit body go. After all, the demonic god clan could snatch the ethereal spirit body away at any time. It might even implicate your son. Ling Xiaoyu bowed slightly. This bow was naturally for Emperor Yi because he understood the status and value of the primal chaos dragon's inheritance. Let your young master talk to me. After that, we will leave. In the future, we will have nothing to do with each other. Yi Qinghan coldly said. Fellow Taoist. Ling Xiaoyu wanted to ease the tension between the two of them, but he didn't know what to say. Regarding Qin Wenyan, even the second sorcerer god didn't kill him. You guys are saying that you did it for the common people? What a joke. Isn't it for your own glory? People who walk different paths cannot make plans together. Fellow Taoists, there's no need to say anything more. Yi Qinghan looked at the two overgods with disdain and mocked coldly. The second sorcerer god? Ling Xiaoyu's body trembled. What kind of existence was that? Could it be that he wasn't dead yet? Wasn't he destroyed during the primal chaos era? Dragon subduing Taoist and Qingao were stunned. They didn't expect that the second sorcerer god would be dragged into this matter. Chapter 8:15. Fortunately, there weren't many people in the insane sect at the moment. Otherwise, the news that the second sorcerer god was still alive would have spread throughout the universe. The second sorcerer god is still alive? Ling Xiaoyu asked in disbelief. You've seen the second sorcerer god? What nonsense are you talking about? Blasphemy against the sorcerer god. Why are you so bold? Dragon Crouching Taoist asked angrily. Yi Qinghan really didn't want to talk to Dragon Crouching Taoist. He went to the inner sect with Emperor Yi and began to pack up the resources in the inner sect. He was ready to leave the Sisui surface forever and never get involved in the affairs of the world again, especially those of the two factions. Yi Qinghan, what's with your attitude? Don't think that I can't do anything to you just because you have the inheritor of the Chaos Dragon by your side. Dragon Crouching Taoist said coldly. Master Dragon Crouching Taoist, can you stop talking? Why can't you change your temper? No matter what, you have to give face to Emperor Yi. She's the inheritor of the Chaos Dragon after all. What will happen in the future if you continue like this? Ling Xiaoyu frowned and reminded him. Only Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were left in the inner sect. All the resources were put into the yin-yang ring, leaving only an empty room. I was born in a chaotic world. I wanted to fight in the past, but now I'm tired. I don't want to fight with them anymore. When we find the 9 Revolution Chaos Tao body, we'll travel the world. It'll be best if we can find the celestial treasure body. If not, there's nothing I can do. I'll repay the favor I owe the other pupil sect in the future. Yi Qinghan held Emperor Ye's hand and looked at the empty Kuang sect. He felt inexplicably relaxed, but at the same time he felt a little sad. Don't think too much, Master. The chaotic world will pass and the light will come sooner or later. Just like my eyes, they won't be dark forever. Emperor Yi comforted gently. The two of them packed up the inner sect and returned the rest to the artifact sect. Before they could rest, Wu Yan arrived at the Sisui surface under the protection of the two main gods. The three of them chased after the wind and shadows and appeared outside the inner sect. Wu Jiang looked at Ling Xiaoyu and secretly communicated with him for about half an incense stick's worth of time. After learning that the second Grand Sorcerer was still alive, he couldn't help being shocked. Having no time to deal with Dragon Crouching Taoist and Qingao, he just said to them, "You two go back and accept your punishment. Without the clan elder's order, you're not allowed to go anywhere." Young Master, Dragon Crouching Taoist's expression changed slightly. He cupped his fists and said, "Young Master, regarding the spiritual void body, I believe that no one knows better than you about her destructive power. I have indeed committed a sin by blaspheming the inheritor of the Chaos Dragon, but my intentions are good. Young Master, please, Fu Long, let me ask you, what is your mission this time around?" Wu Yan's young face was filled with determination. Although he was young, he didn't mess things up and was very organized. We came to ambush the master gods of the fiend's celestial lineage, Venerable Dragon subduing said respectfully. 3 against 2, did you succeed? You didn't leave a single one behind. This is a dereliction of duty. Let me ask you again. When the clan elder ordered you to come down, did he ask you to deal with the spiritual void body? Wu Jiang asked again. However, his tone and attitude had turned cold. Young master, the clan elder didn't ask us to deal with the spiritual void body. Then does the clan elder know about the existence of the spiritual void body? Do they know the dangers of the spiritual void body? They know. Then why didn't the clan elder let you execute the spiritual void body? Why did you make such a decision without permission? Wu Jiang's attitude became more and more strict. His questioning tone carried the might of the primal sorcerer god, causing the 2 master gods to bow and not dare to raise their heads. Go directly to the primal chaos ancestral land and kneel down to beg for forgiveness. Face the wall for 1,000 years. Come out when you understand. Wu Jiang said coldly. Yes, young master. Taoist dragon crouching didn't dare to refute. He bowed and left with Chen Gao. Yi Qinghan looked at Wu Jiang from afar and nodded. Such a 9-revolution chaotic Dao body was indeed a good leader. He punished those who were guilty and rewarded those who did well. Although he was young, he was very steady. He handled things in an orderly manner and was much more steady than Qin Tian. Wu Jiang signaled for the 2 master gods and Ling Xiaoyu to stay. He climbed up the inner Sex mountainside alone. Although he could reach the sky in a single step, he had to walk. This made Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi unable to find fault with him. This child is not bad. I heard that he is about the same age as Qin Tian. Emperor Yi smiled. Such an old age, and yet he was already a master god. One had to admit that the 9-revolution chaotic Dao body was indeed terrifying. And, according to Taoist Jiushan, this child is indeed about the same age as Qin Tian. Yi Qinghan nodded and said, Wu Jiang of the sorcerer tribe greets the 2 seniors. Taoist dragon crouching and Qin Gao didn't handle things well. I hope that the 2 seniors won't lower themselves to their level. Wu Jiang stood at the mountainside and bowed. Yi Qinghan didn't expect Wu Jiang to lower himself so much. If he still made a fuss about it, he would be looked down upon by others. This child is a little too smart. Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly. He pulled Emperor Yi and in a flash, they arrived in front of Wu Jiang. You are the 9-revolution chaotic Dao body? Yi Qinghan asked calmly. Yes, senior. You actually want to forge the 9-revolution chaotic Dao body. You even used a mortal body to forge the 5 elements Dao body. You have gathered the order Dao, Karma Dao and the Dragon Godhead. You are only a few steps away from the 9-revolution chaotic Dao body. I Wu Jiang am impressed. Although Wu Jiang was a Lord God, he looked at Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi with reverence in his eyes. Yi Qinghan didn't know where his reverence came from. Before I came, I studied your life. I respect you and admire you. Wu Jiang said frankly. He had already investigated everything about Yi Qinghan, but the way he said it made it impossible for anyone to nitpick. Yi Qinghan smiled. Wu Jiang's intelligence wasn't something an ordinary person could achieve. Just the fact that he described investigating a person as studying his life was unique. Don't try to get close to me. Since you have investigated everything about me, I won't talk nonsense with you. Keep a low profile and go to the mythical plane. The 2nd sorcerer god is waiting for you in God Extinction Mountain, Yi Qinghan said softly. The 2nd ancestor really didn't die? Wu Jiang was shocked. Everyone knew that the 2nd sorcerer god had died in the chaotic era. Even the clan elder in the clan believed it. He didn't die. He gave it to me because he mistook me for you. Now I'm returning it to you. Yi Qinghan stretched out his hand and the 10-direction seal appeared in his hand. He threw it to Wu Jiang. This was the most precious treasure of the sorcerer tribe. There was no need for him to refuse to return it. The 10-direction seal could only be used by members of the sorcerer tribe. Although Yi Qinghan was reluctant to return it to its rightful owner, he wasn't greedy. The 10-direction seal was broken in the past. Other than the 2nd ancestor, no one can repair it. He really is still alive. Wu Jiang trembled with excitement. He held the 10-direction seal and knelt down. He pressed his hands on the ground and said respectfully to Yi Qinghan, "Thank you for telling me such important information. I will repay this kindness in the future. I will return to the clan and discuss with the clan elder on how to quietly send me to the mythical plane. I will take my leave first." "Get up. You represent the sorcerer tribe. I don't have the right to accept your bow." Yi Qinghan pulled Emperor Yi to another position to hide. He continued, "After you enter God Extinction Mountain, keep going deeper. You will probably meet the second sorcerer god's tomb keeper. It is an afterimage. Follow it and you will find your ancestor's tomb. He is hiding inside." Chapter 8:16. Wu Yan left with all the overgods, and Yi Qinghan left with Emperor Yi. The once powerful inner sect was disbanded overnight. Many people could not help but admire Yi Qinghan's generosity. No one would have the guts to disband such a sect just like that. However, would the people of the inner sect gather just because of the name of a sect? When the time came, Yi Qinghan would call for the people of the inner sect to gather. This was something that no one or any other sect could compare to. On the Demon God Mountain, demonic tiger deity was summoned by Yushin again. In the palace, Yushin clearly already knew everything. "Demonic tiger deity, go and bring back the ethereal being, but don't hurt Yi Qinghan." Now that Yi Qinghan has not chosen a side, there's no need to be as foolish as Fu Long and force him to the opposite side, Yushin said faintly. "Yes, my lord," demonic tiger deity bowed and replied. "Also, remind the demon god clan not to offend anyone from the inner sect of the insane sect. Just pretend you don't see them. We can't afford to provoke this sect," Yushin said firmly after thinking for a moment. Demonic tiger deity was stunned. He did not understand Yoshin's order. Emperor Yi had not grown up yet. Wasn't this the best time to kill him? As for the inner sect of the insane sect, it was just a group of juniors without even a overgod. If the demon god clan wanted to destroy it, it would be a piece of cake. "I can't figure out Yi Qinghan. I've used all kinds of methods, but I can't see his past and present life. I can't see his future path either. The great demon god's prophecy did not mention him or Emperor Yi at all. However, they lead such a huge insane sect. Although they are young, they will definitely be a force that can influence the war thousands of years later. The great demon god should have included them in the prophecy, so it's best not to provoke them." Yushin warned in a deep voice, "Just pass down my order, especially those with the combat physique. Do not provoke the inner sect of the insane sect, and do not go to their headquarters, the mythical realm and the endless realm. You will probably cross their bottom line. If you provoke someone like Yi Qinghan, he will give up the two realms and fight us to the end. There is no need to complicate things." Obviously, the people from both camps had investigated Yi Qinghan and even found out his background. Yi Qinghan was still a high god, but the higher-ups of the two factions didn't give him the same evaluation as Sky Pillar and Dragon Subduing. Instead, they treated him as a character that couldn't be offended. Of the ancestral land, the Shaman Mountain. Wu Jiang excitedly entered the ancestral land and headed straight for the clan elder's seclusion area. "Com Yen 12? Wu Yan yelled. No matter how mature he was only showing it to outsiders. He was still a child in the clan. A white-haired clan elder walked out and looked at the shouting Wu Yan. He frowned and said, "You are the future leader of the shaman tribe. How can you lose your composure like this?" Wu Yan was called Wu Yan. He was a figure from the third shaman god's era. His cultivation was on par with Yoshin's, and he was at the end of the chaotic era. When he had just grown up, the chaotic universe happened to be destroyed. He led his people and survived. They had been hiding here, relying on the border river to block the demon god's attack again and again. That was how the shaman tribe managed to survive. His prestige was the strongest in the shaman tribe. Even though Wu Yan represented the shaman god of chaos, he did not dare to be presumptuous in front of him. "Hee, clan elder, I have good news. The second shaman god ancestor is still alive." "He really is." Wu Yan was so excited that he forgot to salute and said in a low voice. Wu Yan frowned and said coldly, "What nonsense are you talking about? How can you blaspheme an ancestor? What do you think this is? Wu Yan took out the 10-direction seal, his hands trembling. The 10-direction seal. Where did you get it? This 10-direction seal was a coming-of-age gift from the Almighty Father God to the second shaman god ancestor. Although it was not an overgod weapon, it was close. It was destroyed back then. This 10-direction seal is almost exactly the same as the original one. I was fortunate enough to see its original form once. Tell me where you got it. Wu Yan was also a little excited. His white hair danced and his aura was a little out of control. Senior Yi Qinghan gave it to me. He said that the second shaman god ancestor is still alive and has not transformed. Yi Qinghan is just as Senior Purple Emperor predicted. He has almost succeeded in forging the 9 revolutions chaotic Tao body. I am very respectful to him, so I'm sure he will treat me well. He might even help me in the future. Wu Yan was very excited. He also explained why he was so respectful to Yi Qinghan even though he was a Lord God. There is indeed a cause and effect. Back then, in order to find out about Senior Purple Emperor's prophecy, I paid countless resources as the price in exchange for the words about the acquired 9 revolutions chaotic Tao body. I did not expect to find out about the second shaman god ancestor's whereabouts because of him. This exchange was worth it. Wu Yan looked at Wu Yan with satisfaction and said, "You are very smart. You have handled this matter very well. As for Yi Qinghan, don't offend him and don't offend the people of the arrogant sect. As for the ethereal body, let her be. Since Yi Qinghan wants to protect her, if there is a problem in the future, he will definitely step in to solve it. He can't escape this fate, and he can't escape this chaotic world. This is the reason why I did not give the order to kill the ethereal body." Wu Yan smiled, his eyes shining. Indeed, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. An old man who did not die was a thief. He had already become a demon. Where is the second shaman god ancestor? Let's go and bring him back. Our tribe's power will definitely increase greatly. We will have a greater chance of dealing with the demon gods. Wu Yan looked at Wu Yan and whispered. He is in the god extinction mountain of the mythical dimension, Wu Yan quickly replied. The god extinction mountain of the mythical dimension? Wu Yan frowned. That place was Yi Qinghan's headquarters. If he forcefully brought people to meet him, the flames of war would probably destroy the mythical dimension. You and Xiaoyu go together and disguise yourselves. I will create an opportunity for you to enter the mythical dimension quietly, Wu Yan decided. Sure enough, 3 days later, the sorcerer tribe, who had been on the losing end, actually took the initiative to attack the various strongholds of the demon gods. As long as there was no master god present, they were all uprooted. The master gods of the sorcerer tribe's camp were all mobilized. Almost all the large middle dimensions were caught in the flames of war. The 4 upper dimensions were also in a frenzy of killing. Yi Qinghan knew that the sorcerer tribe was definitely creating an opportunity for Wu Yan. He did not want to be involved in their affairs anymore. He brought Emperor Yi with him and went on a carefree journey. The 2 of them rose with the wind and soared 90,000 miles into the sky. Other than the master gods, even the 10 great battle constitutions would not dare to say that they were a match for Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi when they joined forces. 3 to 5 battle constitutions might have to join forces to resist the 2 of them. The 2 of them traveled the world in search of treasures. They relaxed their minds and prepared to find an opportunity to break through their mental states. Chapter 8:17. The inner sect of the insane sect was scattered across the major plains. Some of the stronger ones went out to fight for resources and took risks to explore the major secret realms and dangerous places. If the overgods did not show up, no one could compete with them. No one knew where Yi Qintian and Qin Wendian had fled to. Ever since they left the insane sect, they had not appeared in the world. Even the demonic tiger deity could not find any trace of them. The major planes were still moving. One by one, the smaller planes were the first to overlap, forming a huge middle plane. The heavenly Tao had merged, and the Sisui plane was no longer the dominant plane. Strong ones sprung up like bamboo shoots after the rain. Yi Qinghan no longer participated in the affairs of the world. He only wanted to travel the world with Emperor Yi and enjoy the prosperity and peace. The two camps began to fight, but no one dared to provoke them. They were idle for a while. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were like immortal couples. They traveled the world, accumulating merits and doing good deeds. In some of the smaller planes they were like gods. Occasionally, they would take a fancy to the talents of some children and teach them. It was an unintentional act, but thousands of years later, a group of young people with terrifying combat power appeared. In the demonic god mountain, Yushin frowned. She did not understand why the weak sorcerer tribe would suddenly attack the strongholds of the demonic god clan. Because the war had broken out, they did not pay attention to Wu Jiang and Ling Xiaoyu. They quietly left the upper plane and took a detour to the mythical plane. Just as the planes were in chaos, the Nine Serenities Master came out of the Nine Serenities plane. His temperament had changed a lot. He was like a divine eagle, and his aura was terrifying. He was stronger than before. The Nine Serenities Master's eagle strike was an overgod-level secret technique. It had to be said that the Nine Serenities Master's talent was shocking. With a single overgod-level secret technique, he broke through the shackles and condensed the overgod divine spark. The reincarnation aura became deeper and was no longer as terrifying as before. It was as if he had returned to his original state and was like an ordinary old man. On the same day, Yan Yunbei and Feng Wuxie had a fierce battle. Feng Wuxie's clothes were torn apart by daggers. If it was a battle of life and death, he would have been killed by Yan Yunbei hundreds of times. Feng Wuxie's cultivation realm was not weak. He was a half-step lord, and he was on yin-yang reversal. He had refined his blood again, so his vitality was abundant. His wind enlightenment, in particular, allowed him to move as fast as lightning. Killing those of the same level was just a matter of waving his hand. Unfortunately, he had encountered a weirdo like Yan Yunbei, who could not find where he was hiding at all. "Pervert, I won't fight with you anymore." Feng Wuxie was speechless. Looking at the tattered clothes on his body, he tore them apart and changed into a brand new battle robe. Yan Yunbei was still the same Yan Yunbei. Back then, his soul had been brought back by 9 underworlds. Now, he had transformed and surpassed the Yan Yunbei of the past. He was still handsome, dignified, and proud. At the moment, he was smiling and said calmly, "I still can't hurt you. Every time I touch your clothes, you'll always notice me. Looks like I have to work harder. Let's go bid farewell to Master and return to the world." "There's no need to bid farewell. Return this eagle strikes the 9 heavens to Yi Qinghan. I don't need it anymore." The 9 underworlds Master had not arrived yet, but he stretched his hand across the air. An illusory handprint held a secret technique iron scroll and handed it to Yan Yunbei. "Now that you've refined your blood and flesh again, you can return to the middle realm. However, this era is already chaotic. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't join any camp. Walk your own path. The world has its own place. If you can fight, fight. If you can't, don't stick your head out. If you get into trouble, I won't be able to save you," the 9 underworlds Master reminded in a dignified voice. "Master, which realm is Yi Qinghan in?" Yan Yunbei's eyes were filled with excitement. In the 9 underworlds realm, only Feng Wuxie could stand shoulder to shoulder with him. He was already sick of it. He wanted to kill his way out and fight the world again. That little bastard. I only rejected a few of his messages. He actually blocked my communication talisman. Next time you see him, beat him up hard. The 9 underworlds Master was very dissatisfied. He did not want Yi Qinghan as his disciple. Feng Wuxie and Yan Yunbei were speechless. Only Yi Qinghan would dare to block the 9 underworlds Master's communication talisman. Shua! The 9 underworlds Master's thoughts moved. The 9 underworlds realms reincarnation time and space reversed. A path appeared that led directly to the middle realm. Yan Yunbei and Feng Wuxie were sucked into the path and appeared in the mythical realm in an instant. The path closed immediately. The two looked at each other and walked towards the secular world. At that moment, Ling Xiaoyu and Wu Yan happened to pass through the dimensional battlefield and enter the mythical realm. The 4 of them were going in opposite directions, but their destination was the same, Yang Pass in the raging Dragon Empire. The four of them traveled extremely quickly. The mythical realm was not very big to begin with. 4 half-step lords, it did not take long for them to travel across the realm. Therefore, they bumped into each other at Yang Pass an hour later. The 4 of them looked at each other and took a few steps back cautiously, maintaining a safe distance. Yan Yunbei and Feng Wuxie were even more nervous. They had not expected to encounter a lord as soon as they were born. Moreover, it was such a young lord. His combat strength seemed to be terrifying, perhaps even surpassing the 9 underworld's masters. They could not help but inhale sharply. They even began to doubt their lives. Are young people nowadays so talented? Yan Yunbei spoke to Feng Wuxie through voice transmission in disbelief. The combat strength of the 2 people before them had shocked them. Putting that lord aside, the half-step lord next to him alone might not lose to you, Feng Wuxie said softly through voice transmission. At the same time, Wu Jiang and Ling Xiaoyu were shocked as well. How many powerhouses had emerged from this small realm? So many people from the mad sect had come from the mythical realm. Now, 2 more had emerged with such high combat strength. Could they be from the great demon god's bloodline? Who are you people? The 4 of them asked at the same time. Whooshed up, their swords were unsheathed at the same time. Yan Yunbei suddenly vanished. There was no fluctuation in the space at all. At that moment, even Wu Jiang became serious. Lu Zhantian was guarding Yang Pass. He had not expected so many powerhouses to emerge from the Mad Dragon Empire after being quiet for so long. It seemed like they were going to fight above Yang Pass. With the power of half-step lords, Yang Pass might not be able to withstand them. I'm Lu Zhantian from the Mad Sect, the Lord of Yang Pass. My friends, please don't fight above Yang Pass to avoid harming the innocent. Lu Zhantian gritted his teeth and charged into the air. Although he was no match for the 4 of them, he had to consider the countless living beings in Yang Pass. The Mad Sect? Wu Jiang and Feng Wuxie were stunned. Yan Yunbei quietly appeared in front of Lu Zhantian and asked in a low voice, I'm Yan Yunbei. Do you still remember me? Where's Brother Yi? It's you? I can't believe you're back. Congratulations. Brother Yi has already left the mythical realm with the inner sect. I think he's in Sisui realm now. Lu Zhantian was overjoyed. He did not expect Yan Yunbei to return from Abysmal. So you 2 know Senior Yi? I'm sorry. I'm Wu Jiang. I just came from Sisui realm. I saw him before I came, Wu Jiang said with a fist salute as he put away his sorcerer god battle spear. Chapter 8:18. Yan Yunbei and the others were still vigilant. They would not trust the other party before figuring out their identities. May I ask if you 2 are from the crazy sect? Wu Jiang asked with cupped fists. I'm Yan Yunbei from the crazy sect. This is Feng Wuxie from the crazy sect. Who are you 2? Why did you come here? Yan Yunbei was alert. With their combat power, they should not have come to such a plane. Wu Jiang didn't dare to speak further. After all, he wasn't sure if there were people from the demonic celestial lineage in this small plane. If the demonic celestial lineage knew that he had escaped and was alone, he reckoned that a large number of experts would descend upon this place and the entire plane would vanish. Well, you can send a message to Senior Yi. It's not convenient for me to say more. If it's convenient for you 2, let us go first. We can talk later. How about that? Wu Jiang hesitated and did not say his origin. Lu Zhantian was also afraid that the 4 of them would fight, so he could only contact Yi Qinghan through a special messaging charm. After finding out Wu Yan's identity and purpose of coming here, he sent a message to Yan Yunbei. Yan Yunbei nodded and made way. Wu Jiang and Ling Xiaoyu went straight to God-Ending Mountain, while Yan Yunbei went to the Sisui water level. Yi Qinghan and Renhuang Yi were free and unfettered. They continued to travel to various small planes. They sensed that the planes were moving faster and faster. Even ordinary cultivators could sense it. This meant that the 10 great constitutions of war were about to appear. The great demon god Dao body had not appeared yet. The celestial treasure battle body had not appeared either. There was also the void Dao body. That night, Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi spent the entire night together, experiencing the joys of being human. The two of them washed up, changed into a new set of clothes, and walked out of the inn. The two were like an immortal couple. As they walked on the road, passers-by bowed and envied them. The huge city was originally filled with killing. After the two appeared, the situation changed. Did they want to kill someone? Could they kill Yi Qinghan? They did not even have the courage to fight against the two. The divine bird lay lazily on Yi Qinghan's shoulder. It was listless. Recently, nothing could arouse its interest. Suddenly, its eyes lit up and it stood up. "What's wrong?" Yi Qinghan asked in surprise. The divine bird was only excited for a moment before it quieted down and muttered to itself in confusion, "Could it be that this divine bird has degenerated? Just a moment ago, he had sensed a guy with treasures all over his body moving. How did he disappear in an instant? Could it be that I haven't felt any treasures for a long time and am hallucinating? The good-for-nothing guy is starting to worry about personal gains and losses, right?" Emperor Yi teased. The divine bird rolled its eyes at Emperor Yi. Suddenly, it became excited again and cried out in a low voice, "It's at the city gate. Believe me, it's really at the city gate." Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi looked at each other with interest. It had been a long time since the divine bird had been this excited. It couldn't be an illusion, so they headed towards the city gates. At the city gates, there was a woman in white who looked like a mortal. She was not beautiful, but she had an otherworldly temperament. Her slender hands were like treasures, perfect to the extreme. At this moment, the woman was emitting the aura of jewels. Divine light flowed through her skin and she was full of spiritual energy. It was as if her flesh and blood were made of rare treasures. Consuming her flesh and blood would definitely prolong one's life. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi walked quickly and arrived at the official road. They saw the woman immediately from 100 meters away. She was like a crane among chickens. The divine bird trembled and said excitedly, "It's her. I felt this woman. She's really a treasure. She's a treasure from head to toe." "It's the celestial treasure battle body?" Yi Qinghan frowned and whispered, "It can't be that coincidental, right?" According to Zixuan, the inheritor of the celestial treasure battle body was a woman. He didn't say anything else. "I don't know. If the celestial treasure battle body is not revealed, we can't recognize it at all. Let's go and ask." Ren Huangyi was somewhat interested as well. He had never seen someone who could turn himself into an unparalleled treasure. The spiritual qi of his flesh and blood was so dense. The woman was walking on foot. She seemed to be aimless, but with her powerful strength, it was impossible for her to travel the world like Yi Qinghan. She must have her own purpose for coming to a small city in this small plain. The divine bird flew in front of the woman shamelessly and kept flapping its wings. It said wretchedly, "This divine bird calculated that you must be the legendary celestial treasure battle body. You're a treasure from head to toe. You're as great as this divine bird, right?" The woman was full of charm. She raised her head slightly and looked at the divine bird. She filled the city with spring. She was very feminine and very charming. She was so charming that men couldn't help but be aroused. "Devouring divine parrot?" the woman said in surprise. "That's me, the divine bird." "Ha, aren't you honored to see me?" The divine bird said cockily. "Why don't the divine bird rise with the wind and soar 90,000 miles into the sky?" The woman asked disdainfully. What do you mean?" The divine bird was stunned. It didn't understand what she was talking about. "If you're so awesome, why don't you go to the sky?" The woman mocked. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were stunned. They didn't expect her to be so humorous. The divine bird could hear the mockery, but it pretended not to understand. It flapped its wings and said, "This divine bird can go to the sky. Watch if you don't believe me." Whoosh! The divine bird flew into the sky and then swooped down. It looked at the celestial treasure battle body proudly. "Stupid bird. The legends are fake." The woman snorted and turned to leave. "Fellow Taoist, please wait. May I ask if you are the inheritor of the celestial treasure battle body?" Yi Qinghan asked tentatively. The woman glanced at Yi Qinghan. She was very vigilant and didn't want to talk. She didn't stop and just kept walking. Fellow Taoist, if you have the celestial treasure battle body, I have something to ask of you. If you don't, can you please reply? Yi Qinghan smiled bitterly and gestured for Emperor Yi to ask. No. Sure enough, like master, like pet. What a pair of idiots. The woman spat out these words and turned to leave. Stop right there, stupid woman. Who are you calling stupid? The divine bird was furious. It had been extremely dispirited these days and was in a bad mood. It felt that it had degenerated and was even called an idiot. How could it not explode? Divine bird, don't be rude. Emperor Yi hurriedly scolded it. He tried his best to maintain a gentle smile and looked at the woman. He cupped his fists and said, Sister, my name is Emperor Yi. We have no ill intentions. If you really do have the celestial treasure battle body, why don't we get to know each other? The woman finally stopped and looked at Emperor Yi curiously. It was as if she had discovered something. You are the inheritor of the origin of the Chaos Dragon? Sorry, I have nothing to talk to people like you. Goodbye. The woman said firmly, but it was also equivalent to admitting her identity. Before Emperor Yi could say anything else, the celestial treasure battle body flashed and rushed to the end of the city. It disappeared in the blink of an eye. Yi Qinghan frowned. The celestial treasure battle body was indeed unwilling to talk to people from the two factions. It didn't even give them a chance to talk. Go after it. Yi Qinghan pulled Emperor Yi and rushed out without hesitation. Chapter 8:19. Yi Qinghan chased after her with Emperor Yi, but the celestial treasure battle body seemed to have vanished from the city. She's in the city. There's something she needs in the city. Yi Qinghan searched for a long time but couldn't find it. However, he was certain that the celestial treasure battle body hadn't left. This chick seems to be as powerful as this divine bird, but why don't I sense any treasures in the city? The divine bird looked around curiously, but it still couldn't find anything good. Yi Qinghan didn't want to miss this opportunity. If he let the celestial treasure battle body escape, where would he find her next time? Thus, Yi Qinghan found the city lord and stayed in the city for more than 10 days. He still had some face. The city lord personally sent people to investigate the whereabouts of the celestial treasure battle body, but he didn't know that the woman he was looking for was the legendary celestial treasure battle body. He had never even heard of the celestial treasure battle body. The city lord sent people to search the inns in the city, but the celestial treasure battle body seemed to have disappeared. She didn't leave the city, nor did she stay in an inn. There was no trace of her on the streets either. The city lord couldn't help but feel disappointed. It wasn't easy to find an opportunity to make Yi Qinghan owe him a favor, but he missed it just like that. A day later, the celestial treasure battle body still hadn't appeared. The celestial treasure battle body is clearly in the city. Why can't I find her? What is she doing in the city? Yi Qinghan was puzzled. He suddenly stared at the cup of water and saw the water tremble constantly, producing a layer of ripples. The ground is moving. There's something underground, Yi Qinghan immediately said. Suddenly, the earth trembled as divine light pierced through the ground. Even the houses trembled. The strong tremors shocked even the gods. In such a stable territory, unless it was attacked by a powerful god, it would not cause any tremors. A 1,000-meter-long crack appeared on the wide official road. It was a shocking sight. Then it grew longer and wider. Divine light shot out from the crack. It was especially dazzling, as if it wanted to swallow the world. Fuck, there's actually a divine treasure underground. This divine bird actually didn't discover it. The divine bird cried out in a low voice. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi looked at each other. They were certain that this woman had the celestial treasure battle physique. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to find the divine treasury that even the divine bird couldn't detect. This legendary celestial treasure battle body could not only turn ordinary things into treasures, but it could also find supreme treasures in the world. Judging from the power she had displayed today, she was more capable than the divine bird. The divine bird couldn't help but feel dispirited. Even its special ability had been defeated by someone else. Sigh, I can't even drink water. This heavenly treasure battle body can't be the daughter of the heavens, right? The divine bird looked up and sighed. Yi Qinghan came to the window and saw the chaos in the city. Many people began to flee outside. Once they were swallowed by the crack, even ordinary low-level gods would die, let alone those who had not reached the level of gods. The city guards personally escorted the ordinary people in the city and began to retreat. The governor rushed to the inn where Yi Qinghan was and asked with a terrified expression, "Senior Yi Qinghan, what's going on?" "There's a divine treasure below the city. Someone has already triggered it. I'm guessing it'll attract a large number of powerhouses here soon. Get everyone in the city to leave immediately. Those whose cultivation base hasn't reached high-level high god, don't stay in or near the city," Yi Qinghan said in a deep voice. "Their cultivation base hasn't reached high-level high god?" The city magistrate was a middle-aged man from a minor plane, so he was only a prefect. It was rare to see a high god in person, so when he heard Yi Qinghan say that the man was a high god, he was so scared that he went limp. "You have 2 hours at most. I don't know if it'll attract lords, but there will be hordes of half-step lords. There might even be some with special physiques. You'll be courting death if you stay here," Yi Qinghan replied with certainty. "Thank you, senior. I'll leave with them now." The governor retreated immediately, not daring to stay any longer. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi went down to the inn and realized that the entire inn had tilted. Many of the rooms had collapsed. Since the celestial combat constitution had been attracted here, the divine treasure would most likely not be a bad one. There was a huge tomb underground. The celestial combat constitution was sweating profusely. Looking at the huge stone door in front of her, she could not help but stomp her feet angrily. She thought to herself, "Damn you, Atlas Combat Constitution. It took you so much effort to make a tomb. I'm going to dig up your tomb today. As long as there's a treasure, there's nothing that can stop me, Dong Qin." It turned out that the tomb was the tomb of the first-generation Atlas Combat Constitution. This celestial combat constitution was there to dig up the tomb. Fortunately, the first-generation Atlas Combat Constitution did not know about it. Otherwise, he would have to fight Fairy Dong Qin. However, the stone door was completely sealed. Dong Qin used the secret technique twice in a row but still failed to open the stone door. Instead, it implicated the city above and caused the entire city to collapse. The stone door was made of dark stone, a bit like the stone tablet that the second-generation sorcerer god placed in front of the tomb. The material was similar and could not be destroyed at all. Without finding the key point, the celestial combat constitution could only be anxious. Above, all the people had retreated. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi searched for the location of the celestial combat constitution. It took them more than an hour to find the real entrance. As soon as the two went underground, they found that there was a vacuum about 50 meters below the ground. However, the water reservoir on the surface was not damaged and would not affect the water source in the city. This was also the reason why this divine treasure had not been discovered until now. "It's you guys again." Dong Qin frowned. "It seems that you really have the celestial combat constitution. Fellow Taoist, please don't misunderstand. I don't know you. I was just asked to find you." Yi Qinghan did not want to have a conflict with her and quickly explained. "Who is looking for me? I don't know anyone from the secular world." Dong Qin asked in surprise. "It's someone from the other pupil lineage." "It's a woman," Yi Qinghan quickly said. "The successor of the Purple Emperor's lineage? My celestial combat constitution has nothing to do with the Purple Emperor's lineage. Why is she looking for me?" Dong Qin asked again. "It's about the Purple Emperor's prophecy. I'm afraid she has something to ask of you. I've passed the message. If it's convenient for you, tell me your communication talisman. I'll tell her to come find you," Yi Qinghan said indifferently. "I'm not interested. I won't get involved in their business. This is the request of all the successors of my celestial combat constitution. Tell her to give up." Dong Qin refused without hesitation. Yi Qinghan was helpless. Since she was unwilling, he could only tell Zixin the truth. Yi Qinghan secretly sent a message to Zixin, telling her his current location and asking her to meet up with him as soon as possible. "Can you open this door? If you can, I'm willing to split the treasures inside with you." Dong Qin changed the topic. Whose tomb is this? Yi Qinghan was rather curious. How did the Celestial Combat Constitution discover the tomb 50 meters underground? The first generation of the Atlas Battle Constitution. The tombs of the 10 great battle constitutions all have a large number of burial items. They're all Lord-level secret techniques and even Lord-level artifacts. Dong Qin did not lie to Yi Qinghan. Instead, she hoped that Yi Qinghan could really open the treasury. Yi Qinghan gasped. Once the first generation of the Atlas Battle Constitution appeared, the great demonic god's lineage would probably mobilize a large number of Lord-level experts to occupy it. Chapter 8:20. The tomb of the first generation of the sky-raising battle physique was so vast even in the depths of the earth. How strong was the cultivator back then? If you need help, why don't you introduce yourself? This heavenly treasure battle constitution is so rude. The divine bird snorted, feeling that it was useless in front of the heavenly treasure battle constitution. It was very dissatisfied. Dong Qin mocked. A stupid bird is a stupid bird. This is cooperation, not asking for help. Do you understand? I really don't understand. With a heavenly treasure battle constitution like mine, I don't know why God gave birth to a superfluous thing like you. The divine bird was exasperated and roared, I'm the divine emperor of all beasts, not a superfluous thing. Are you a birdman? Can you replace me? You're the birdman. I won't lower myself to your level. If it weren't for the fact that I couldn't beat the air of the Chaos Dragon and your master, I would have dealt with you long ago. Dong Qin couldn't control herself. Tisk. I have a way to open this hell gate. I really don't know what the heavenly treasure battle constitution is for when I'm born. The divine bird returned Dong Qin's words. You're good at bragging. Why don't you open it for me to see? Dong Qin asked in disbelief. Why should I open it? We'll talk about it after you leave. This place can't stop me. I'm not interested in sharing treasures with others, the divine bird said disdainfully. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi were also speechless. The divine bird could quarrel with anyone, as if it and the heavenly treasure battle constitution were natural enemies. If you can hurry up and open it. If more people come later, we won't get any benefits, Yi Qinghan said impatiently. Let the heavenly treasure battle constitution beg me. Otherwise, I won't say anything. The divine bird looked like a dead pig that wasn't afraid of boiling water. It had been aggrieved recently and wanted to show off with the heavenly treasure battle constitution. Dong Qin was so angry that her breasts rose and fell. Her face was flushed, which added a touch of charm. Yi Qinghan was absent-minded. This natural brow bone was simply a torture for men. Emperor Yi viciously pinched Yi Qinghan's waist and groaned, indicating for him to control himself. My name is Dong Qin. Can I ask the divine bird to open the door? Dong Qin said angrily. Dong Qin? Pa. What an old-fashioned name. It's more than enough when paired with the heavenly treasure battle body. You can't compare to me at all. The divine bird smirked and finally regained its confidence. The celestial battle body was already on the verge of anger. Yi Qinghan couldn't stand it anymore. It wasn't good to bully an honest person like this. He directly grabbed the divine bird's neck and pretended to be angry. Hurry up and tell us the way to open the door. We'll go in first and we can come out when they arrive. This is the 5 heavenly treasures. Look, there's a dragon at the top, bottom, left, and right, and a heavenly dragon in the middle. The 5 dragons are entangled with each other and their energy is connected. They can generate energy on their own and won't run out even after billions of years. It's impossible to open it by force, so you have to cut off the passage of one of the dragons so that the energy inside can't be generated continuously. The stone door will automatically open. This is the most advanced array of the chaotic era, turning complexity into simplicity. Many people think that the Tomb Guardian array of the 10 battle constitutions is definitely not that simple, so they can't figure it out in their lives, the divine bird said proudly. Right, how could I forget this? Dong Qin scratched the back of her head and suddenly realized that such a charming and mature woman was actually cute. Cough, cough, Yi Qinghan coughed twice and looked away. With this method, The celestial battle body could open the stone door alone. Dong Qin sealed the dragon in the middle from the inside and cut off the energy supply. The stone door opened as expected. Humph, I'm really lucky to run into this bitch bird. It reminded me. Otherwise, I would have returned empty-handed today. Dong Qin snorted and muttered to herself. She took the lead and stepped into the ancient tomb. There was a circular passage on both sides of the ancient tomb. There were no defenses or traps inside. Perhaps the Atlas battle body didn't want to kill its descendants or test anyone. Whoever had the opportunity could take it. Seeing the simple decorations here, Yi Qinghan couldn't help but have a good impression of the first-generation Atlas battle body. It seemed that the Atlas battle body wasn't scheming and liked to be straightforward. Along the way, they found that many rooms were empty. There wasn't even a table. They were just decorations and there were no messy tests. As they went deeper, a large number of divine techniques were placed in each room. The worst of them were top-secret techniques. Tier 15 natural treasures were everywhere. Because this place was completely sealed and the air didn't circulate, none of the natural treasures were damaged. The celestial battle body wasn't interested in these at all. She wasn't in the mood to establish a sect. Yi Qinghan and Emperor Yi didn't stand on ceremony and took them all for the citizens of the Endless Plains and the Mad Dragon Empire. The materials here were enough to cultivate an army of gods. As they went deeper, more and more materials appeared. The celestial battle body was at the back. She didn't even bother to take some of the Master God weapons and Master God level secret techniques. She only took the secret techniques and profound mysteries that she needed. Yi Qinghan and Renhuang Yi sped up and collected all the materials at the back. When they arrived at the back, they discovered 3 books of Lord-level secret techniques. One of them was a secret technique related to soul attacks, another was about the mysteries of weapon refinement, and the last was about medicine refinement. Emperor Yi took them without hesitation. Dong Qin walked into a room and looked at the 3 Master God weapons in the room. She shook her head. She wasn't interested. She only liked her set of Master God weapons. Master God weapons that could be collected by the Atlas battle body were definitely defeated by the Atlas battle body. If even the Atlas battle body couldn't defeat them, how could the celestial battle body be interested in their divine weapons? 2 divine swords and a spear. They were all Master God weapons and ranked quite high among Master God weapons. If the Atlas battle body was interested in them, how bad could they be? Dong Qin didn't want them, but Yi Qinghan treated them like treasures. He stretched out his hand and summoned the spear. With a light shake, it let out a long whistle. A warm current rushed into his body, making his soul feel exceptionally comfortable. Good spear! Yi Qinghan couldn't help but exclaim. He looked at the spear in his hand. There were 3 finger-sized words on it, Amber Spear. It was one of the 4 great divine spears of the chaotic era, a top-grade Master God weapon. Yi Qinghan casually put it away. Emperor Yi also put away the 2 divine swords and walked out of the room. In the depths, the divine bird stared at Dong Qin, competing with her for the real rare treasure. Until now, Dong Qin had only taken 1 iron scroll. As for what secret technique it was, the divine bird didn't see it clearly. At this moment, a palace appeared in the depths. The door was wide open, and there were 2 weapons at the door. One was a divine sword, and the other was a battle saber. The Sun-Moon divine sword and the star saber. Dong Qin blurted out in disbelief. She didn't expect that the divine weapons of these 2 battle bodies would be in the Atlas battle body's tomb. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.